Nice to see you all. And before we go further, I'd love to introduce you Anita Lecher. She's one of our partner at PuraWorka and live from Zermatt. As you all have been going through currently challenges through work or through family, through life, she represents some of the entrepreneurs who are also dealing with the situation. So Anita, the floor is yours. And thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much. And yes, I'm looking forward for a good half hour for a Pilates session. We just try to stretch a little bit and give also some strengthening back. Thank you. And yeah, I'm very excited. So you're standing on our mat or where we are on our bottom. And then you bring your arms up, deep inhale. Stretch your further body. Exhalation, circling back. Again, inhale. Reach up, exhalation, circle back. We do this again. Inhalation. Reach and give some length, and exhalation, bring your arms back. Then from here you bring first your head further down, and then we're rolling down, so it's a kind of mobilization for our spine. Just hanging your arms, your head, maybe you just woke up, and then you're rolling up, spine by spine, you're rolling up, rolling up, rolling. We do this again, inhale, we give up some length. And when we exhale, first we start with the head, then with the shoulders, breastbone, and lower back. Just shake again your arms. And from here, you take them the power from your tummy and rolling up, spine by spine. At the end, the head. When we inhale, we go into a chair, and exhalation, we move us up. Again, inhalation, exhalation, move up. We do this again, inhalation. Exhalation, wake up, and one more time, inhale, exhalation. From here, bring both arms again up, bring your heels up. You know, now it's a balancing. We go a little bit deep, hold here, and then move again up. Keep your heels still up. Inhalation, deep. Exhalation, up. One more time, in and out, and last one. And from here you bring your fingertips to your mat and stretch your legs. Try to bend your right leg and your left leg is straight. Open here your arm, reach up. Bring some length in your spine and bring it back. From here, bend your left leg. Your right leg is still straight. Open your right arm. Open your chest. Exhalation. Bring it back. Bring both hands down to your mat. Step back with the right and left leg. In a down facing dog or inverted tree. Just try to walk on your place. Your heels go up and down. And reach back. From here we do a big wave forward into a planking. Also here, stretch your toes, they are flexed. And then you bring your knees back. Hands should be under your shoulders. When you exhale, you start to do a round back from the coccyx or the lower back up to the head. When you inhale from the coccyx, lower back up to your head. Again, exhalation. And inhale. Again, exhalation. And inhale. From here, you bring your right leg back and your left arm. Give some length as you can. Inhale deep. And then reach up. Your sternum, you lift it up and up. 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. From here, step back. We do again 1 time. Round back like a cat. Wake up with your spine. Inhale. You're happy to walk. Back in a neutral position. Then you slide out with your left leg and your right arm. Bring it up and down. Again, up and down. 5 more. Up, length, and back. 2, and back. And 1, and back. From here, slide back with your arm and bring your arms again up. Inhale, give some length. Also here, open your heart. Exhalation, turning back again. Open your arms and exhalation back. From here, you slide out with your right leg. Bring in the same line your knee and your heels. Arms should be straight. From here, inhale, go so far as you can to the left side. Exhalation, bring back. Again, go so far as you can. Reach away. Exhalation back. Next time you stay here, hold in your waist. Bring your arm long. Bring him back and back. Again, go away from here. Again, length. Hold in your waist. Bring him back and here. Last time you stay here, you bring your right hand down, left hand down. Now, open here your hips, your chest. Bring some length too. Open here the chest as well. And then you do a round rotation. Open here, in and down. One more time. Open, open, open. And bring it down. And last one. Open here. Open your arm up to the ceiling. Bring here into the balance and back. Bring your right arm down, your left arm along your head. Exhale. Back. Slide back with your knee and we go directly to the north side. Also here, reach away, hold here. Exhale, bring it back. Again, bring away and back. 3 more times. Away and back. And then you stay here. Bring your arm in front of your hips. Bring here back. 1 more time. Bring it away to here. Up and back. Next time you stay here, tapping down to your mat, And we get some length in the lateral part into a rotation. Open. Again, rotation. Open here. And rotation. One more time. Open your arm. Bring it up. And back. Kneeling back as you can. Inhale, reach up. Genau. Exhale, sit back. From here, we're sitting back on our mat. Both feet should be on the end. From here again, bring your hips, your chest up. When you exhale, we go into a curl back. You know, curling back with your hips, with your pelvis, shoulders should be wide. And from here, open. Again, exhalation, hold in your tummy. Inhalation, bring it up. One more time, exhale. Inhale. And again, exhale. Stay here. Open your right arm, twist it in, bring it back. Open your left arm to the side. Hold in your tummy and bring it back. Again, open your right arm. Left arm should be straight. Exhalation, bringing back. We go to the other side. And bringing back. Right. From here, roll down softly and slowly. And lying back. Bring your step back with your feet. They should be parallel. And also your feet should be good in your mat. Neck is long, arm next to your body. On your next inhale, you curl your pelvis, and then from the coccyx over the lower back, you're rolling up into a bridging. Hold here. Inhale, bring your arms long next to your ears. And when you exhale, rolling down, rolling down, rolling down, rolling down, and bring your arm back. Again, deep inhalation, exhalation, curl, and rolling up, rolling up, rolling up. Bring your arms long as you can, and rolling down, rolling down, rolling down, spine by spine, and then your arms. Hold your neutral position. Bring on your next inhale your right leg up and your left leg. Hold here the neutral position. Bring your fingertips behind your head. Elbows should be on the side. And exhale, lift your head and shoulders up. From here, step down and bring it tap down. And here also tap and up. Exactly. In and out. And in and out. Two more. Inhalation, exhalation back. One. And the last one. And tap. You can keep your legs like this, or if you like, you reach up. Right. From here, bring your right leg down, straight, another keep it straight, or you can bend on it, and bring it back, whatever. You can go flex, bring it forward long, and bring it up. Or you can hold those legs in length, same thing, down and up, and then we change leg, alternating. Up. Again, deep and up, holding your tummy. Bring your belly in as you can. Again, down, stomach. Again, forward. Exactly. 3. 2, and 1, and up. Bring both knees like this, both arms forward. Bring your sternum a little bit upward. When you inhale, reach away, maybe go deeper. Exhalation, circling back. Again, inhale, reach away, exhalation. 5 more, in, and up. And again, in, and out. Keep it. Inhalation, exhalation. 5, 4, hold in your tummy. 3, keep your legs together. And 2, and 1, and together. Great. Bring knees to your body, your hand under your legs. Bring your head up and your feet help. So they pushing forward to rolling up, rolling up. Now we play a little bit. We go rolling like a ball. Your elbow should be on the side. Open your shoulders, neck is a little bit deeper with your chin. When you inhale, rolling back, exhalating up, rolling back, in, and up. 2 more, rolling and rolling up, and again, rolling and up. Reach up. From here, we go in a sat seat. So you bring the left leg forward, right leg to the side. Try to bring your hips up so much as you can. Bring your arms to the side, shoulder rolling back. Bring your hands where your hips and open again here to lateral side. And then dynamic back. Again, inhalation, open your lateral side. Exhalation, bringing back. And again, inhalation. Exhalation, bringing back. Then we go on one side here, open as you can. Exhalation back. Arms should be wide, give some length. We go again in a round back, curl your pelvic, open your heart and your chest again. And open. One more time, round back, shoulder wide. And lift your hips and pelvis up. Bring it back. And we change directly the legs. You know, try to bring your seat bones so good as you can into your mats. From here, the same thing. Open your side, lateral side. Bring your arm up to the ceiling. When you exhale, bring it back again. Two more in. Open it. Your view is up to the ceiling. Bring it back. And last one. Bring it up. And back to the opposite side. Shoulder wide. And exhalation. Bring it back. From here again, 3 rounds. Open it. Again, exhale. And inhale. One more time, exhalation. And inhalation. From here, you open the left leg, bringing forward, and both hands get forward. So that we can go over into a 4-point kneeling. Exactly. Step up with your toes. Your hand should be under your shoulder And from here again into an inverted tree or down facing dog. Again, walking on place. Lift up your heels up and down. From here we do again a round wave and get forward into a planking. Bring your heels back as you can. And when you exhale, go back. Again, inhalation, round. Stay here. Then you bend your knees and reach up. One more time, rolling forward into a planking. Then from here, bend your knees. Bring your heels up, stretch your upper and lower back and reach away. Last time you go forward, hold here and then slowly down. Bring your toes away and your arms are along your chest. From here, activate first your tummy. And then from here, when you inhale, bring your head, your shoulders and sternum up, as well your arms. Turn your hands to the bottom. Give some length as you can. Bring it away, hold in your tummy. And then you lift your left leg and right leg up. Try to give some length in your body, not high length. Hold here. And exhalation back. Again, reactivating here from the middle, the core. Then we lift the chest. Sternum, shoulder, head, and legs up. Hold here, finger taps, looking down to your toes. Exhalation back. And again, lift it up, arm, chest, and your legs. Hold here. And exhalation, we bring him back. Bring both hands under your shoulders. And exhale, move up. And sitting back in a child position. Deep inhale. And exhale up in a down facing dog. Then you're walking forward to your fingers. Just let the fingers hanging as well, your shoulders, your head. Again, we take the power from the tummy and stomach, and then you're rolling up, spine by spine. At the end, your shoulders, your head. From here, inhale. Lift it up, give some length, and then exhalation, swinging back. Inhalation and exhalation. 3 more times in and out. 2 and 1. Arms up and to the side and back. Wonderful. Thank you very much for joining this short Pilates session. Hope you're still here. And I give the word back also to Neil. Yes. So I think now the program is so that you have time to change your
exactly.
clothes.
Thank you so much, Anita. As you've seen, I've already changed in a couple of seconds. My clothes, I had a very early wake up, so I'd already did my Pilates session. So thank you very much, Anita. I'm jealous I couldn't do it myself.
Thank you. It was a wonderful challenge for me too. And yeah, wish you all the best for your webinar today. Cross fingers.
So before we conclude, Anita being one of the entrepreneurs that is also having to deal with the current situation, if you want to donate and you've enjoyed the session, I'm going to share in the chat Anita's Twint or bank account from her website. You can check her website, and if not, maybe when you go to Zermatt one day, you want to join one of her sessions in the mountain or in.
It will be a pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anita. So
I thank you. Yeah, big hugs to everybody, and yeah.
So
never give up.
Before we stop, I have a special game we will be doing this morning to interact with the participants. So Anita, you can join in as well. It's a special question I have to everyone. Within the current confinement, do you practice any kind of sports? Once per day, once per week? None? Sitting on a couch or looking after kids counts as sports. So I would love to hear from all the participants, including the panelists. The question is being asked to the audience. And during time people are answering, I take this opportunity to also share a very important topic, is that currently within the crisis, we're only thinking about external defense. So keeping social distance, which has a lot of sense, but we forget to talk about the immune system, so our internal defense. And how do we boost our immune system through sports, through healthy food, through sleep, and also keeping human interaction. So we'll be trying to keep human interaction all morning, and I hope you enjoyed this morning's session. We've got a couple of seconds left before we stop the first question, and I will share the results live. This we will be doing all morning to keep you interacting with us. So as you see, the answer, we have 70% of people who practice sports once per day. That's very good. And we have 30% once per week. And then nobody of the audience is sitting on the couch or suffering too much from children. So that was the first question. Thank you for answering. Take this opportunity now to have some breakfast, to maybe take a shower. We will be starting at 9, and what we propose as well is to start interacting with some of you. So feel free to ask some of the questions. And thank you so much, Anita. I will share your details on the chat. Cool. And you're on mute, Anita, I think. Okay. Good. So I will put back the schedule on the screen, and now if there's any question from the audience, feel free to share. I can see already quite a lot of people connected. So hope you're all shaved or showered or changed. It's nice to be back live again. We have our very first panelists that are joining us already, being very Swiss on time, but we will keep being on time. And what I propose before we start is another little interaction with the audience by asking the next question of the morning. So, are you a fast or slow life kind of person? And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. We had this debate with Ellie the other day, Elisabeth, who's joined us and being one of our panelists. I would love to hear from the audience whether they are a fast life or a slow life kind of person. So we'll keep 2 or 3 minutes for you all to answer. And I'm looking forward to the audience's input. So I'm a fast life for sure. Call me rocket man or rocket woman. Slow life for sure. Chi va piano va sano. Fast life kind of person who dreams to be slower, or slower kind of person who dreams to be faster. And then we have a bonus one, aussi vite que possible, aussi lentement que nécessaire. Kind of person. So we have another couple of minutes to answer before I will reveal the results, which is going to be maybe surprising for the panelists to take into account when they will be giving their speech. So. I think as I was exchanging this morning with Nico, a lot of people have ideas and kind of conceptions about slow life, thinking that it's doing less things. It's maybe doing things which are calmer. As Nico said in his introduction, it's maybe also searching for quality and not necessarily quantity. But you will hear from our panelists what they've been researching on the subject. Funny enough, we had launched the theme Slow Life end of 2019, before the current crisis came. And it was quite topical the recent weeks to keep the theme. We had to pivot. We wanted to do this session in Zermatt, where we held our first PuraWorka, PuraMind last year. And this year we had to unfortunately go online, but we're testing this version, and we look also forward to seeing you all face to face. So a couple of seconds left before we end the question, and I will share the results in 3, 2, 1, go. So as we see, the main outcome being that the audience seems to be a fast life kind of people who dreams to be slower. So hopefully this morning, through the panelists and through your question and answers, we will identify ways to slow down, because in the end, we only have one life and it goes very fast and things can happen in a very short period of time. So we got a couple of fast life people here, rocket women or rocket men. And then we don't have often slow life people who dream to be faster. So that's already a good sign. I will share the results to all. So before we start, Ellie, Alex, Sophie, do you want to share some feedback on the results? And you can unmute your Alex or Ellie.
Hi, Emile. So for me, the last question you proposed, so this kind of joke, aussi vite que possible and aussi lentement que nécessaire. I mean, this summarizes the whole point. I mean, there's maybe some aspect of your life where you want to stay fast, or you have to stay fast, and others when you want to be slower. What the question would be to the audience: what is to be slower? What do you mean behind this? I don't know, Ellie. What you or Julie, what you mean?
I think being slower is different for everybody. Everybody has a different definition, so it has to fit with what is best for you. But I'm aligned with what you said. I think you have to still be fast on some points and slower in others. I personally answered a fast life kind of person who dreams to be slower, because sometimes I go too fast because I want to do everything, but there's not enough time. And when you do too many things, you don't enjoy them as you wish you could if you would do them slower.
Cool. Well, I think this is a great introduction to the next session that we'll talk about slow life, but not just slow life, but how do we include slow life in new organizational models at work. So in order to really pose the concept and the foundations, I would love to introduce you to Sophie Pogno, our very first panelist, who will then leave the floor to Ellie and Alex. And Sophie, the floor is yours. I will also share your presentation, but thanks a lot for being here. Welcome to all of those who are joining us today, and thanks for this session.
Okay. So yes, thank you, Neil. Hi, everybody, for being here. Well, my name is Sophie Pogno, and I will be talking to you what about slow living. But just before I start, let me introduce myself. So after working in the private banking for many years, today I'm passionate about sophrology, slow life, quite different. I organize digital detox weekend with PuraWorka. I participate to conferences, TED talk show with Share Idea in Lausanne on LFM radio about slow lifestyle. So soon, as you can see on the slide, my book will be released, Et si j'adoptais la slow life. So find all the information on my website, slowlives.com. Just next slide, please. Up. Okay, so today I'm pleased to introduce what's slow living in 5 minutes, quite challenge. Well, just before giving you an answer, let me start with a quick observation. Today, everybody agrees that we live in the fast lane. We are constantly in a rush. We are overbooked, overstressed, overworked. In short, I think we spend more time in charge of our smartphone rather than ourselves. Our agenda is saturated without enjoying each moment. We're risking our health, our well-being. So as you can see on the slide, looking at the figures, 77% of the Europeans feel the urgent need to slow down and reduce their connection time. So that's just amazing. And briefly, I would like just to share with you the interviews, the video from Carl Honoré, What is Slow. So just to let you know that Carl Honoré is the ambassador of slow life. He wrote the bestseller, Impress of Slowness. So let's go there.
Score up front and make very clear to you that when I talk about slow, when people talk about this slow culture quake, slow with a capital S, we do not mean doing everything at a snail's pace. That would be absurd, preposterous. I'm not an extremist or a fundamentalist of slowness. I love speed. I love speed. And faster is very often better. We all know that. Slow is about doing things at the right speed. It's about knowing that, yes, there are times to be fast, but there are also times to slow it down. And there are times to be completely still and do absolutely nothing at all. Musicians talk about the tempo giusto, the idea that each piece of music has a natural tempo or rhythm, pace to it. And I think we're the same as human beings. We all have our own personal metronome. And if we can move through the day doing whatever it is we're doing in harmony, in symphony with that metronome, then we're going to do those things better and enjoy them. We're going to be better people leading better lives, and I think in a better world. Slow is about quality over quantity. It's about doing things mindfully. That's a word we're going to hear all the way through this conference. Slow is about doing things not as fast as possible, but as well as possible. It's also about the joy of the moment. It's about understanding that here is this moment before me now. I will never have this moment again, whether it's talking to a colleague at work or reading a bedtime story. And if you arrive at that moment thinking, I only have this moment once, I'll never have it again, That changes the way you approach that moment. You don't rush through it, you live it fully. So once you take that slow chip and plug it in, you realize it can revolutionize everything you do. So.
Yes. So what we must remind ourselves that the great benefit of slowing down is reclaiming the time and tranquility to make meaningful connection with people, with culture, with work, with nature, with our bodies and minds. So just to let you know that the origin of slow living began in the 80s in Italy, in the slow movement. Faced with the opening of fast food, Carlo Petrini formed SlowFood. But I say no more about that because the next topic, SlowFood, will tell us more about that. So next, please. Next slide, please. Yes, next. So this, next again, sorry. So this philosophy was expanded to slow working, slow travel, slow management, slow cosmetic, as you can see on the slide, slow sex. Please, no question about slow sex at the end of the presentation. But the question is how to slow life in a fast-moving world. In my opinion, first of all, we need to better understand our relationship with time to become aware of our contradiction. In my opinion, slow living is about creating new opportunities to disconnect, to slow down, and be more present. For example, to reconcile a balance between a professional life and our personal life. So know your values, your priorities. It's very important to live mindfulness. You can practice, for example, yoga, meditation, abdominal breathing, whatever. So just to conclude by saying live better, not faster. I have worked in the bank for many years and I can assure you it's possible. So hope this introduction inspired you. I'm going to hand over to Elizabeth. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for posing the foundations. So Sophie, if the audience has any questions, we will have a 15-minute debate at the end of the first session where we will be interacting with Elie, Alex, and also Sophie. So Elie, the floor is yours, and we go to the next introduction.
Thank you. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see my presentation. Okay, here goes. So hi everybody, thank you for having me. Today I'll be talking about the company I work for that is called Loico, and that is B Corp certified. So my name is Elizabeth, but everybody calls me Ellie, so feel free to call me like that. I'm an art director and a filmmaker in the marketing department of Loico. And I've got like one of the most amazing opportunities and adventures of my life while working there. That was to co-direct a movie that was in the theaters for 6 months, and it's soon going to be on TV. It's a documentary about the positive solutions that exist in my hometown, Geneva, and it's called Demain Genève. So that's actually how I got to meet the PuraWorka team last year, because I was invited to show it last year in Zermatt. So what is Loico? Maybe some of you know Loico, maybe some of you have heard of it, because we have a very strong presence in the social media. So maybe some of you think we do movies or that we do sport events or sustainable events. We do, but that's not what the company does. So the company provides expert services in outsourcing HR, so it's very administrative. So Loico started 6 years ago, and today it reached a turnover of 14 millions and almost 100 employees. And all of that happened without any sales force nor hierarchy. I'll come back to it later because 2 years ago we abolished the hierarchy. How did that magic happen for us? I'm sure it's because at the beginning of Loico, the performance was to be redefined. Like in Loico, you don't perform because you bring more money to the company. You perform because your impact in society is doing something good. That's actually how we came across the B Corp certification. That is a statement that you do, that your business uses force to do good in the world. So I'll go quickly into it because usually also my presentation is about 20 minutes, but here we only have 5. So what B Corp does to help you is they give you 5 angles to work on. So you have governance, workers, community, environment, and customers. So for the governance, I told you we abolished the hierarchy 2 years ago. So I'm going to show you a little a presentation of how it's done, but I'm going to go very quickly. So if you have questions, you can ask me later. I'll answer to you gladly. So basically, we got inspired by a model that's American, that's called holacracy. Maybe some of you know. So what it does is that it takes the traditional pyramids where the workers are on the bottoms and the bosses are on top, and it flattens it. Because when you have a pyramid, the connections are slow and communication is not good. So we flatten the pyramid and then we work into circles. We adapted it a little bit so it would resemble us more. So we called it Loicocracy. And we added a coordinator in every circle of work because in every circle, every employee is responsible of their work. They're in charge of every decision that is for their work because they know best, right? And the coordinator is here just to back them up because for us, it's very important to be aware that people make mistakes and they're allowed and showing them the right way. For the workers, we've always valued workload and work-life balance. We've always had freedom of schedule, dress code, well, no dress code, remote work was always possible. And the last one is very important, job safety, because I realized while doing this presentation that when the quarantine hit us, I never ever wondered if I was gonna lose my job or my salary because I trust Loico to always do the best for the people in the company. The community is actually the point where Loico makes it. We call ourselves people working at Loico. We value the commitments towards social causes during working hours. This point is actually what got me to co-direct a documentary. While working at Loico, we were maybe 3 or 4 at Loico working on this documentary. And for Loico, it was more important for us to do this that had a social positive impact rather than just make money come to the company. Environment, obviously, well, we are on the net carbon 2030 plan. We have a sustainable mobility strategy and so on. For the clients, we are always fully transparent. We give special rates for NGOs, B Corps, ESS companies, and we always support clients who want to commit themselves to causes, to good causes, where we can help. We give what we can, because we are truly believers that you can use business as a force for good. That's it. Thank you. I hope it was okay.
So much, Ellie, for the introduction, and please keep your questions warm for the debate after. I remind the audience, maybe some of you have never experienced a Zoom webinar. So it's very different from a normal Zoom call because as we're going to be sometimes 80 today, we cannot have 80 videos at the same time. So this is a webinar format, but nevertheless, we will interact with you and you can also raise questions and talk, but we don't have all the videos at the same time. So a quick question to all. before we leave the floor to Alex. So the next one being regarding the hierarchy. What do you believe in? Are you kind of top-down approach, so the leaders follow the leaders? Are you more in favor of empowerment? So a flat hierarchy has been presented. Do you believe in a grassroots movement, or a revolutionary movement from bottom up? Or are you kind of a free soul or a free soldier that is happy to be in the wild, into the wild? So we leave another couple of seconds to answer to the question. And quite exciting results I'm going to share in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So yeah, well done, Ellie. I think you've convinced the audience. Maybe the audience is a bit biased, but we see that there's an interesting need for a new type of model called holacracy, declined to loicocracy. And thanks very much to the audience for participating. Cool. So next one is Alex.
Hi, everyone. So I will share also my screen. And thank you, Ellie, for this presentation. And I can only relate to this. So empowering people, that's something that we tried to do when we also created Connect. It was 3 years ago. And what we do is that we bring together thoughtful people to launch innovative and impactful projects. So we are a team of now around 10 people, and we organize projects, events, conferences, mainly around science, innovation. We manage networks, and something that's also important for us at the beginning. So we wanted also to launch our own project and own initiatives. So we wanted to do stuff and not be another consulting agency, but really get involved also in the project of our clients and launch our own initiatives. So during the last 2 years, we've launched an apparel brand called Harry. The last project we initiated this last weekend was an online hackathon in Canada, Together versus Virus. We work together with the versus virus teams, also from Switzerland, and we want to have an impact. So that's why we wrote this manifesto with our fellow connectors. You have your local mates, we have our connectors. Why do we do that? We say that we have huge challenges ahead, especially for our generation now, that we need people to come together, bring together their own skills and energy to solve them. We bring together entrepreneurs, innovators, scientists, storytellers, any competency that we can find, people who share these same ideas, and we work together on projects. So we don't have a fixed team. It's mainly driven by the needs of our clients, by opportunities, or by the project we want to launch. And we want to have an impact, so a positive impact on the society, not only on the business side, but also on the 2 other dimensions of sustainable development. Something that is well embodied in the B Corp movement, for example. That's why also we try to choose the projects we work on, because we get really involved. And ultimately, we want to create the world we want to live in. And this goes together with the organizational model we put in place to make this happen. As I said, most of the connectors are already employed in another company. They share their work time. They are maybe independent or have also their own companies. So you need flexibility. You need to empower people. So from the beginning, we decided to go for a no office, no paper, no work hours culture. We work purely remotely. We work with people that are based in China, in Canada, in Vancouver, in Europe. And that's how also we created this culture. So when Neil asked to talk about slow life, it made me also reflect on this subject, what we experienced here at Connext, and I will be happy to share it with you, Ellie, Sophie, and all the other the audience.
Thanks a lot, Alex. I've got some question and answers, not yet to be given by myself, but a couple of questions for the panelists. And please start, the audience, noting your questions for the panelists in the Q&A that you have in your bottom screen, and we will try our best with Nico to raise some of your questions to the panelists at the end of this. So I will start just by one question. Currently, we're facing a crisis. So Sophie, Alex, or Ellie, knowing that you embed new and visionary organizational models, what does this current crisis change in positive or negative? I don't know who wants to start.
Yeah, I start. Yes, today I think we are going through a kind of Rubicon, which hope will be the start of a change in our habits. Our model faced clearly its limits. In my opinion, nature sends us a strong message. It's a kind of ultimatum. I hope that we'll be able to learn lessons about that. We can see today there is a drop in CO2 emission. Children in China discovered that the sky is blue, just crazy. Nature is taking its right. So the question is, what about tomorrow? What about the recovery of the economic pressure? To be honest, I really hope that we are going in a kind of euphoria. This crisis should be an opportunity to learn, to transform to a new lifestyle. And why not to take an interest in a slow lifestyle? I think this pandemic will teach us a lot, and it will be the start to a deep change in our habits. So just to conclude, slow down before your health does it before. Just my opinion.
Very good, thank you. Alex or Ellie, positive or negative impacts of this current crisis on your work or personal lifestyle?
Personal, I think, well, I'm learning about the slow life and how, it's positive effects on my personal and work life. As Sophie said, I used to think like slow life was all about being slow, but it's not. It's about finding what's right for you and what works best. Because when you do things the right way, which means the way that like the timing is perfect for you, benefits you best, and the outcome is always more positive. But I also think what Sophie said is right. I hope that people are going to realize that we can make a change in environment, and I think that people are starting to realize that and to ask even more questions. Like, for example, people who work in companies that they maybe didn't like that much, they're starting to wonder, should I really be giving all my time and effort and energy to a company that is not doing something for the world? So maybe, I think people are going to embrace change, and hopefully it will be for the best.
Yeah, Alex, any additional points?
I mean, like any crisis, it forces people and businesses to ask what's important. So it's huge challenges ahead. There are, of course, opportunities that can come out of it. As Sophie said, I see it also as an accelerator for changes, like what we've seen in any crisis. If you had a look at the world wars in the span of a few years, if you take the world where it was at the beginning and at the end, the acceleration in social changes in technology, in the political or economical structure of the world. It brought tremendous changes. It comes also with huge risks. So I mean, I wouldn't be that much. I'm an optimistic person, but I mean, we also need to be conscious about the changes that come. And it's also for me, it reveals the fragility of many business model and of sectors of our economic model. When you are in a normal situation where everything works well, it's perfect to, for example, rely on distributed supply chain all around the world, being able to travel fast and to have just-in-time supply chains. But then you realize that when you enter a difficult time, you have to rethink all this, and it's the opportunity now to rethink things.
Thanks a lot, Alex. So it's perfect for the next poll to the audience. Are we living the beginning of the end or the start of a new beginning? So 30 seconds to the audience and panelists to answer. Is it the beginning of the end or the start of a new beginning? Or maybe the last one bonus, it's a reset. So we start from scratch. So let's see if our audience and panelists are optimistic people, entrepreneurs, or if they are pessimistic. And so 3, 2, 1. Results are actually, again, maybe we have a biased, but it's quite strong feedback from the audience. It's the start of a new beginning, and I want us all to be part of it through these ecosystem partnerships, like-minded discussions. And next question I would have for Eli would be, Loico being B Corp certified, do you see these type of companies being more resilient to the current crisis? Other examples internationally being Patagonia, Ben & Jerry's, Fairphone, or in Switzerland, Lombard Odier, Montagne Alternative, for instance.
So I want to say yes, but I cannot talk for those companies because I don't work there, so I don't know them. But what I can talk about is our experience at Loico during the crisis. We got very lucky because almost nothing changed. I mean, our turnover is still the same for now. People are used to work from home, so it was not a big change for the people. We have this app that we use to communicate where everything's transparent. So we have all the information we need to know. We call each other every time. So the crisis just proved that our system works, even though changes from outside are coming to us. So we were very happy about that. Also, because what we were trying to do with this new model is to be even more agile, to be prepared for every change. So that has worked pretty well for us. Also, because we also have this strong value of being benevolent, the clients, and transparent with the clients. For now, like, everything is going well, but if something bad were to happen with the client, I'm sure they would be like okay to forgive us faster because we've always been transparent and benevolent. I've heard a story about like in the 1990s. I don't know if you remember that. I don't, because I think I was too young, but it was like there were 2 plane crashes that happened at the same time. One happened in America. It was an American company. And the other one happened in Europe. It was Swiss Air. And because Swiss Air had such a good reputation, because it was always transparent with the clients, it actually benefited from the crash because people were like comprehensive and they said, oh, it's okay to make mistakes, don't worry. So like they got even more empowered with that, while the American company had already a bad reputation. So the crash made the company almost die. So I guess it's like in life, if you're always honest, you're always right. And I think business, you can also do that, replicate it. So yeah.
Thanks a lot, Ellie. And I'll be happy to take a debate on Swissair around the beer once we can all see each other again. I have a next poll for the audience, just to know a bit their knowledge about B Corp. So we have a couple of seconds to answer. Have you heard of B Corp before? So for those who don't know the A-Team, it was an old series where you had guys in a van going around and doing a lot of adventures. I take this also opportunity, so studying the financial markets, those companies that have integrated environmental, social, and governance into their reporting into their companies are actually dropped down a lot less within the current financial crisis than other companies. So there seems to be a link between the fact as Loco and other companies that have, showing more resiliency, and in terms of how the financial sector and market is answering to that. I will share as well some links in the chat. So, end of the poll. So yeah, we have still quite a work to do in order to keep on promoting B Corp. I think the strong thing with B Corp is it's actually has a community aspect and is online, and you can all go and visit. We'll have other examples this morning on B Corp. So next question, I'll address Alex. So you've been working remotely for a couple of years. What are the pros and cons to what we've been experiencing recently? Have you got any advice to share with us, and how do you see the close by future evolving towards?
Yeah, sure. So I think remote work is here to stay. The main advantages we've seen over the years is the gaining productivity. I mean, when you can focus on your task. Linked to SlowLife, it's the value you can have, because not everybody is the same. Not everybody has the same biological rhythm or way of working. I'm more an early bird kind of person. I work with developers that were working between 2 and 3 a.m. I think everyone should be able to decide when he's the most productive and want to work. Another advantage I see is that by working remotely, you can also decide on what part of the day you want to invest your time. I have little kids, so I'm also really grateful to be able to bring them to school, or to have a break with them during the afternoon, and then work later at night when they are sleeping. That's also maybe the main disadvantage, that when you have this fusion between work and private life, so you have to organize well. The main obstacle to this remote working way of working is I think it's the corporate culture. I saw yesterday there was before the start of the pandemic in Switzerland, about only 10% of people that were able to work from home or from anywhere, and less than 3% worked more than 50% of that time outside of the office. And recently there was a poll from consulting company stating that 80% of Swiss workers that experienced remote work want to keep being able to work remotely after the crisis. 80%. I mean, it's a huge challenge to how companies organize, how we measure working times, how we set goals and manage teams.
Yes.
That's perfect transition to the next poll, and I will actually ask the audience if they want to continue working remotely post-confinement. Yes at home, yes in a co-working, good way in between. No, I need to be in the office. I will share as well with the audience and all participants and panelists a couple of links when we will send out the email post webinar. So we will also share the link to the research that Alex has mentioned, done by an agency in Switzerland. But it's quite interesting. I do believe, and maybe also this is a question to address to the audience, is that we won't go from one extreme to the other, but we will mix more. So we will have moments at home, we will have moments in a co-working space, maybe we will have moments back in the office.
Sure, yeah. I don't think you can really just stay in your corner to work. You need the interaction with other people.
Yeah. So 3, 2, 1. Interesting answer. And I think this was not part of the questionnaires. And of course, it's a bit biased because we're a co-working startup. But there's a very good article from Forbes that was published a couple of days ago saying that actually maybe the intermediate phase will be in a co-working space because it's a smaller environment. You know, you don't go from one extreme to the other. Alex, what's your feedback on this poll?
You forgot also to add bars, gardens, beaches, ski slopes. That's also something that's new now. You can work really from anywhere.
Yeah. So welcome to join us in Zermatt or Indonesia in the next couple of months. We look forward to seeing you all. A last question on my side for the panelists before we open the floor to the audience. How do you see the future of work, lifestyle, and even personal life?
In my opinion, the challenge will be to reconcile a balance between a professional life and our personal life, as I said previously. And today, as I said before, everyone are on home office. That's a new reality. But there is a trap, and the trap is not being able to disconnect with your professional smartphone, for example. That's a blurring. And in my opinion, the human connection is essential. So we have to find a balance between both. And why not to take an interest in the slow management, slow working, slow business?
Nice. Ellie or Alex, before we switch to the audience?
Well, we already have a point where we value work-life and workload balance. But I guess being forced to do home office showed some people that it's actually possible to do it and actually work better because you're not distracted, as it was mentioned before. But so, yeah, I guess the right thing to do would be to have a nice balance in between, like some days at home and some days at the office, because as you said before, you need human interaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like, I guess
yeah,
that's
I
what
agree.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. I see more this mix of places, of hours. So maybe we come back to what work has been for centuries before the Industrial Revolutions, when you were working in the agriculture, there's no really the difference between where you work and where you live. When you have a workshop or something like that, it's the same. It just since the 19th century that we really have made this difference. There are places where you work, places where you live, and you go from home to work every day, count your hours, get a salary at the end of the month, and come back. Maybe also a side note on this discussion, we talk about the future of work, but work is broad, and not all kind of jobs that can have this freedom of choice to be able to work remotely. Think of all the workers in the construction business or in healthcare, etc. There we might also see the changes. I think digitization is hitting strong on all aspects. Let's see what the future will bring.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Sorry, Sophie.
Sorry, I would like just to add something about Alexandre. I agree with him, and I think the most important is taking time to meet your team, to contributing to their well-being, contributing to the performance of your business as a whole. So slow working, slow business, slow management, for me, that's an alternative managerial practices intended to create cooperative, stable and sustainable environment favoring human. So I agree with you.
Excellent. Thanks very much to the panelists. I leave now the floor to the audience. We have some questions in the chat. So I will start by Patrick Casto. Can you please shortly introduce yourself and then raise your question? Patrick.
Hello, everyone. I'm Patrick. I'm the co-founder of two companies, and the last one is ZebraSkill, which is also, I believe, very linked to SlowLife. And by connecting freelancers and companies, we want to democratize the access to independent talents in Switzerland, exclusively in Switzerland. And the first time I heard about SlowLife was discussing with Neil, actually, and Sophie. And I was very interested in this, and I feel that there's a lot of synergies between what we're trying to achieve in this new way of working with independent talents and SlowLife.
Okay, so it was more like an affirmation and not necessarily a question.
No, actually, sorry, I thought you were gonna read the question. So my question was, so I'm currently taking a course in the University of Pennsylvania, and about leading the life you want. And it was mentioned there that referring to a work-life balance could actually be misleading because there are more dimensions to take into consideration than just these two. And those are work, home and family, community, and yourself. So it's more than just work life, because life could be divided in a lot of different elements. And I do believe that when we talk about slow living, and that was actually a discussion, a debate with Sophie, I think we should also incorporate those 4 different elements because what you do in slow life also can have a strong impact in yourself, obviously, but also in your community, and about how you adapt things from work to your home, to your family, and etc. So instead of referring always to work-life balance, I thought it was interesting also to bring those other elements.
Very good point. Who wants to start?
I can say something. I'm not sure it's like the perfect answer, but I think the most important thing that you mentioned is not to forget about yourself, because it's usually the one that you leave behind. Because as you said, when you come back from work, you have your family, you have your sports, you have a lot of things, a lot of other chores that you need to do. And sometimes, most times, you forget about doing good to yourself. And that's actually how you get to the point where you're burnout, because you don't re-energize yourself. And I think I like how Sophie said that we spend more time charging our phones than ourselves. And this part is very, very important for me. Sometimes I know I completely forget about myself, and I think that's why I want to get more into the slow life, because it forces you to acknowledge and to listen to your body when it says, okay, now I'm tired, please just let me rest. So yeah, it's very, I think it's, yeah, it's right to say that there's different things that just life balance,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex or Sophie?
Yes, I would like just to add something. I think the most important, in my opinion, is to understand our relationship with time, what I said. So today we live with injection, with the contradiction. We want more time for ourselves, but we spend more time in front of screen with the social media, for example. So I think the most important for me, yes, slow life gives us keys to reconnect with our natural rhythm, to reclaim on time, which is a luxury today, and to be aware and to live in the present through bubbles of breaks in a fast-moving working. So, for example, spending more time with your children, finding time for yourself, cooking more healthy and local, practice sports, spending more time in the nature. But the most important for me is to reconnect with the essential.
Alex?
Yeah, I think Patrick raised a good point, and Elias, Sophie, Summer as well. What I would say is that you should, I mean, we can have a look at your life as a whole, and not just to party. Here's my work, here's something I do for myself, here's my family, but try to get the whole picture and find the balance between all these aspects. I mean, that's where you can find, I don't know if it's happiness, maybe. Yeah. And slow life can bring something there too.
I like Patrick, your dimensions. One we can really relate to with PuraWorka is we leverage the digital revolution to be able to work all around the world. But for us, which is very important, is to put the human back at the center. And this is why we create co-working spaces, is to have exchanges, have human interaction. And we have this ecosystem of activities, so sports, culture, workshops, events like today, transport, accommodation, food, is really to create this social interaction, which is difficult at this moment. And of course, work at home is good, personal well-being is good, but the definition of happiness is social interaction. And if we cannot do it live, we can do it today online, and we look forward to doing it face-to-face soon. We have the next question from Cole Quennen. Kong, you're live. Maybe if until you start to speak, how to maintain trust between coworkers by working remotely. This is a challenge as well for some sectors. So don't know who wants to start. Sophie, you've been in the banking sector. I know that lawyers as well have this kind of issues.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sorry, I didn't hear you very well, but yes, previously I have worked for more than 10 years in the private banking. And to be honest with you, yes, I really appreciate my experiences. I don't regret. But the question of choice and sense is very essential. Slowness is connoted negatively as a lazy in our religious morality and in the world of capitalism as well. So yes, the slow life saved me because it allowed to me to reconnect at the essential, my family, my priorities, my value. It's about quality over quantity. And yeah.
So what about you know, bankers or lawyers who have, you know, difficult discussions, difficult information? Can they work remotely? Can they be in a co-working space, Alex?
Are you talking about confidentiality of information?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's also a challenge. I mean, you can work remotely, but have to ensure that the tools you use or the places where you talk are safe to safeguard confidentiality. Coming back to trust between coworkers, from my experience, trust is also achieved by the results you get. If I work together with a team and we agree on delivering something with this quality at this date, if I see that my coworkers achieve this regularly, I have trust in them. And this forces maybe also to rethink the way we manage teams in companies. If you're the kind of manager that want to have your coworkers at hand and control everything, it will be difficult to move to a remote working culture, because there you need to set clear goals and objectives, what your coworkers have to deliver, and then let them organize as they want. But at the end, you have to get the result.
Yeah, Eli, being an administrative company in the end, you're dealing probably with a lot of financial data. Some of your colleagues are overseeing companies, and how do they deal with that when they're next to you? Do they have like closed desks, or can they work remotely? Do you exchange with them on these type of confidentiality issues?
So yeah, we work in an open space. And we have special systems that are called WISE that are protected. So if you want to work remotely, you have one at home and you work from it. You can also install an app on your computer and it will also be protected for the data. But I guess at Loico, how you get the trust? Well, at the beginning, you give trust to people, you're benevolent with them. And also with the Loicocracy, what we did is that we empowered everybody. So when you're empowered and you're in charge of your own work, I mean, you want it to do good, right? Because it's not one person leading the way, it's everybody going the same direction, and it's a direction that everybody chose. So there's no reason that the trust is going to be broken. If it's broken, it's because we don't have the same values and then we cannot work together. But it's not in a mean way, it's just sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, I've got a very good case study of a good friend who's a trader at Credit Suisse. Over beers, we've been talking about these confidentiality issues, and he's told me never possible to work from home or in a co-working space. And so we've been having these debates for 2 years, and I've been telling him, yes, it is possible. So with the current crisis, within 2 days, he was working at home and he had installed all the softwares. And he was trading from home. And actually, there's a lot of traders that are trading from the beach all around the world. So sometimes it's about the mindset shift, and we've seen the acceleration of digitalization in a couple of days. What we still have to bear in mind is confidentiality, ethics, and this is a strong issues we're facing at the moment. So we have another question from Maite. What do you think about flex office? Alex, Ellie, Sophie.
What do you mean about flex office?
Yeah, so Maite, you've got the floor if you want to precise what you mean by flex office. Yeah, Maite, you can share with us your definition of flex. Is it like flexibility, being at home and being flexible work? Alors. Okay, well, I jump to the next question. So it's a way for enterprises to save money and follow the trend of home working, but it seems that many people find the flex office hard to deal with. No more vital space in the enterprise, stress to find a place when you have already the stress of work. So actually, yes, it's downscaling, having, you have a hot desk in a certain way at work.
It's a good question because we've been thinking about removing some of our desks because, for example, in the office in Geneva, there's so many empty desks, and we're like, there's no point in having them if nobody's there. So we wanted to try this remote where everybody rotates. But yeah, you have to, before putting that in place, there's a lot of thinking going on because, as you said, you don't want people coming into work and being stressed because they don't know if they're going to have like somewhere to sit. But I guess it's a good thing to train your mind to not have like, to be messy in a place where you know you're going to come back to and you can leave everything. It's also like a good training, I guess. And it's good to change places. As we said before, it's good one day to work at home, one day in a co-working space, one day in the office. I guess it frees the mind a little bit more than just being stuck in the same frame. But yeah, before doing all of that, you have to make sure that everything works so people don't get frustrated.
Alex or Sophie?
Yes, I agree with you. What I said, I think the challenge would be to reconcile the balance between your professional life and our personal life. Maybe find a balance between both, but yes, the human connection is essential. So everything has been said. I had nothing to add. Sorry.
Alex?
Yeah, I see in the chat Maite just precise her question. Yeah, talking about her desk. We were right. Yeah, I mean, it depends also on the person. You have people that really like to have their own place and do as their desk is their own place, add photographs or organize it the way they want. So for these people might be not very not a good solution to move to hot desk. Personally, when I was working at Swisscom, we had this policy and it never really disturbed me. So I was used to just sit somewhere and start working.
So we have 5 minutes. I suggest we take a break, but before we do so, I would love to thank Ellie, Sophie and Alex for their introduction to SlowLife and to new organizational models. You can find them on LinkedIn if you need to continue the conversation. Please feel free to reach out to them. Thanks a lot. It was a very interesting start of the day. We take a small break of 5 minutes. We welcome the new panelists. We say goodbye to Ellie, Alex, and Sophie, who hopefully will stay with us during the morning. And thanks for everyone for your questions and attention. We start again at 9:00. So we're welcoming new panelists. Christian, we have Morgan, and we have as well Jérôme. Before we do so, maybe just to conclude on the SlowLife thoughts, I would love if Julie, you could just share with you the vision of SlowLife from an Indonesian perspective. So Julie is our country manager in Indonesia, and he's working on the PuraWorka co-working space that we will open. So I think it's quite a nice and wise way to think about SlowLife. Julie.
Hello. Yeah, I don't think we have a clear theory about that, but it is just the situation that supporting having a slow life. People are doing it in the bad way here, as if being lazy, but people are also doing it here as to enjoy their life. I mean, they're not really following the on-time things, but they believe in doing things. They will believe into more spiritual things. So I think, yeah, I think Indonesian people are some of the less stressed people, as they more into spiritual things like doing yoga and religious things. There are some relation on it, but yeah, this aside from having a lot of good places and beautiful destinations, that's some of the perks. So I guess that's all.
It's a very nice way to see sometimes slow life from an external point of view, and discussing with Julie sometimes, and you know, it is also a Western issue. Sometimes always thinking to be on time and rushing. So hopefully you had a slow break. We'll pass the floor to our next panelist, being Christian Morgan and Jérôme Morgan. Please, the floor is yours for your introduction on slow tourism.
Yes, thank you, Neil. Can you hear me well? Just to check. Yeah, great. Yeah, thank you for the invitation. The topic, I mean, slow life is so well chosen for the present times. So I will just start with a couple of words about TravelEyes, our company, and then talking about what is slow travel for us and why is it so important for the future of traveling. So I will just share you my screen quickly so that you can see. Okay, so TravelEyes basically it's a mix between two words, travel and surprise. So it means that all clients, they travel, but they don't know where they are going. So they discover the destination at the airport, and each step of the trip is a surprise. And to keep the surprise, we developed a mobile app that reveals you what to take in your luggage, and that turns each step into something new that you won't expect. So the destination is a surprise, but also the accommodation, and we always include one surprise activity on the spot. So what we want to do with TravelEyes is to make people live the present moment again, actually. So when they book, they don't see any picture of the trip, of their hotel. So as they don't know the future, they are quite forced to live the present moment. And actually, this is quite linked with the slow travel philosophy, what we think slow travel is. In slow travel, the destination is not the matter as well. So slow travel is a bit like waking up in the morning and enjoying every step of the trip from point A to point B. So the local people you meet, the local food you eat, the transportation, everything is part of your trip. That's slow travel. So it's not really about going backpack in South America for 3 weeks, you know, and living it. It helps, but you can slow travel in 1 day or in a weekend. Yeah, the destination is not the matter for slow travel. And I think this topic is really is becoming more and more important nowadays because with the actual crisis, we know that our summer holidays that we planned maybe in a sunny beach in Asia or in south of Europe are slightly turning into more Lake Geneva style, you know. So we will stay in Switzerland, and we may ask ourselves, is it still a trip if I just stay in Switzerland? And I think the answer is yes, and the key for that is really slow travel. I think this crisis will help us to rethink the way we are traveling and to ask ourselves, if I make if 14 hours on an airplane, mass tourism, overcrowded city, is it real travel as well? So yeah, I mean, my point there is just to say that slow travel can be the key for sustainability. It's simple, it's just a mindset, changing the way you're perceiving travel, but it can help you to travel more local and to have a direct impact on local economies as well, which is really necessary in these days. So yeah, I think we all should take this opportunity to rethink the way we are traveling And maybe we will realize that slow travel is actually the real travel, and as well as slow life is actually the real life. So yeah, I think that's something really important, and that will be a real challenge for the tourism industry to include slow travel philosophy in their offer, in their package in a way. And that's why we try to do with Travelize.
Thank you so much, Morgan, co-founder of Travelize. It's a great startup. We actually are often in contact with. Now we have the experience from a destination director of Zermatt, who's actually going to share with us what Zermatt does in terms of sustainability, in terms of tourism. Christian, thank you for being with us.
Daniel, hi guys, thanks for having me today. As Morgan already said, it's a good time or a good opportunity to talk now about slow tourism. I'd like to share my screen with you as well. Yeah. But I guess first Morgan has to quit.
Okay.
Yes. There we go. Do you see this?
We do.
Yes, nice. So I will quick introduce you briefly in the next couple of minutes what I do or what Zermatt Tourism does to what we do on this topic, slow tourism or sustainable tourism as well. As Neil already said, my name is Christian. I'm the leader or the director of the division of destination services at Zermatt Tourism. Zermatt Tourism itself, with its brand in the middle, Zermatt Matterhorn, is the official communication and information platform or company of the whole destination of Zermatt, touristic destination of Zermatt. We divide it in two departments. First one is marketing, so that's more the communication part. The second one is called destination services. That's my part. And we're doing more in information, internal, external information, guest information, and events as well. We're organized as an association of all the suppliers in Zermatt Matterhorn. On the right-hand side, you can see a couple of examples. These can be railways, railway companies, bakeries, hotels, hotel association, and so on. All in all, we have more than 1,000 members in our association. That means as well that we have more than 1,000 people that tell us what to do. All our actions that we do are based on strategic decisions that these members give to us. Some of these members have more influence on the whole topic, and some have less. That's normal politics, as you know. On top of our business strategy, there's the destination strategy, and we work, all the work that we do, we go on this strategy, and we have 6 main values, as you can see here on the left, that lead all to this word you can see there in the middle of the triangle, and that's sustainability. So in my opinion, or in my understanding, slow tourism is quite equal to sustainable tourism. And also important for me, or that's my opinion, that sustainability contains like 3 dimensions, or the 3 spheres. That's the ecological, the economical, and the social sustainability. And we always try to find the balance between these 3 spheres of sustainabilities. I would like to talk about some specific measures that we do to, not to force, but to encourage slow tourism or sustainable tourism. First of all, as you all know, as already Morgan said, the main issue is that people nowadays don't stay for a long time in a touristic destination. So we really try to set or create experiences in our surroundings in Zermatt Matterhorn that people can stay longer and experience the whole touristic destination longer. And our main message there is one day is not enough to experience Zermatt Matterhorn. And as I already said before, I'm also the head of the events in Zermatt Matterhorn. And on events, we have to be especially very attentive on this sustainable or slow tourism issues, because an event usually takes place in 1 or 2 days. People arrive in the morning and they leave in the evening. And what we try to do, or to encourage our suppliers to do, is that we create experiences before or experience after these events, so people can stay longer. Let me give you an example. If you have a trail running event on the weekend, we try to create a trail running camp, maybe with a professional, the week before, so that people can stay longer. And then maybe create an experience for families after the event, post-event. So if the participants take their families with them, they can stay longer and experience the whole destination around this event we created. And last but not least, or another example, I put there the logo of PuraWorka, Neil. We try to support concepts like PuraWorka, so it's a new way of tourism that allows you to work and experience our beautiful surroundings at the same time. People stay longer, they travel less, and I guess, in my opinion, the remote working is a good chance for alpine destinations nowadays. And the actual situation shows actually that it has a good potential and it works good. But still, all the things I've shown you, still there's a long way to go, and we'll talk to it afterwards, I guess.
Thank you very much, Christian. A great introduction and quite impressive to see Zermatt as well, and everything that they're doing in terms of pioneering. Next panelist, Jérôme Salamin, who's been following our startup since the very beginning of the idea. And he is working in digital transformation and innovation in Valais. Jérôme, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Neil. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to share a moment with you. Unfortunately, not in Zermatt yet, but next time maybe. I will also share my screen with you. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yeah, we're on your screen.
Okay, great. So, my name is Jérôme Salamin. I work for CMark, as mentioned already by Neil. It's a company based in Sion. We are a team of about 30 people, and we are innovation specialists. We are best known in Valais as the operation manager of the ARC Foundation, and it's the foundation that I'm going to introduce to you briefly now. Okay, so the foundation was created in 2004, already more than 15 years, by the canton of Valais, with the mission of encouraging, fostering innovation in our economy. In Valais, industry and technology represent about 30% of our added value and about 20% of the world jobs. It means that there are more than 600 SMEs, mainly SMEs, also startups, schools, research institutes, all active in the industry and technology. And with the ARC, we have worked with over 400 companies and startups on projects to develop new products, develop new business model or new markets. The foundation has basically two important roles. The first one is to financially support R&D projects in SMEs and already existing companies, and the second one is to help entrepreneurs create new businesses. We have an incubator in different cities in Valais, and through our incubator we provide offices or also laboratories for biotech startups, and coaching and financing for our startups. And it's always nice and interesting to note that a third of the entrepreneurs who set up their startup in Valais do not come from Valais or Switzerland. So it's not an incubator for only for Valaisans, but for everyone that wants to set up and start a company in Valais. We work more and more with startups and technology companies in the tourism industry. What we observe is that the more our local tourism industry is under stress, with the strong Swiss franc, for example, or under attack with the second home act, for example, and the more we see innovators proposing new businesses, and that innovation don't only come from startups, but also from existing players like ski lift companies with the Magic Pass that you probably all know, or the startup Bonfire in Zermatt. So the good news is that we will probably see even more innovation after the crisis. We will certainly talk later about the importance of startups for the future of tourism. But the bad news, and I will end my presentation on this, is that this crisis is very, very hard for the innovation ecosystem, and especially for technology companies in tourism. And my fear is that when the tourism business starts up again, local tourism companies and SMEs will no longer have the capacities to invest in innovation and to continue their digitalization efforts. And so we really have to do everything we can to avoid that and to support more than ever our startups and our entrepreneurs.
Thanks a lot. It was a very good perspective from three actors of tourism, and interesting and topical subjects. So I'm sure you've been missing this, is the poll. I would love to know if you're more into slow or fast tourism. So I'm actually scared about the answers. I'm sure our panelists as well are. The answers being, are you slow tourism kind of person, fast tourism, cannot wait once I'm unleashed from my house, or we have this special bonus joke, Swiss joke, aussi vite que possible, aussi lentement que nécessaire. So 5 more seconds to answer if the audience is more into slow or fast tourism. 3, 2, 1. So the results being slow tourism, interesting to see this. Christian or Morgan or Jérôme, any reaction à chaud on this?
Yeah, I think it's a great sign. I mean, that is, it means that the people mind it's quite changing, because yeah, we were more into fast tourism. I mean, last year with EasyJet, it's that is fast food, fast travel is the fast food of travel, actually. And yeah, I think it's good, and I hope this movement we will have to think about it, but then to do it, you know, to concretize that. And it will be a big step to avoid going in Europe and staying in Switzerland on your own. I mean, because now we are forced to do it, but yeah, I think it will take a couple of years to make that, yeah, a real willing from the people, coming from the people to stay in Switzerland. But it's the beginning. It's really great.
I have a question for the three of you. Thanks for your intro. Knowing that you already embed innovative organizations, what has this current crisis led to in terms of actions? Can you name a couple of actions that have been taken within the tourism sector under the current crisis?
Yeah, maybe I can tell you something. Maybe you know our company is fed by overnight stays, or budget is fed by overnight stays, and obviously these are we have non-overnight stays these days. So we're reducing our spendings on communication and marketing as well. That's sure. But maybe you've seen in the last couple of weeks we are illuminating our Matterhorn. It's very important that this is not a marketing tool at all, but we were sure that we can, with this sign, we can really give hope. The name of the project is Light is Hope. It really can give hope and a positive perspective to people all around the world. But for sure, as we all know, a positive side effect of these illuminations is also that people keep dreaming of places far away or all over the world that are unique places. And that gives them the other way around hope again and positive perspective again.
Yeah,
that's one of the actual projects that we are working on.
I encourage you to go and see pictures of the Hope campaign. Nicola is one of our moderators, did a 1st of April joke as well with projecting a raclette fromage on one of the local mountains as well, which was a great buzz. And it's what we need as well is hope, and we need humor as well. Morgan, any action that Travelize has taken within the current crisis?
Yes, definitely. We just launched the Valais Tour, which is the same concept of Travelize, but in Valais. So I think I will just share my screen so that you can see. Basically it's one day in Valais. You know that you have some wine tasting included, some raclette, and you have to be at Martigny train station at 11 o'clock. And the rest is a surprise. You have 5 steps in Valais. Actually, the website is in French for the moment, but so that you can see a bit. You have 5 stops. Each step is a surprise. They all include local producers, surprising activities, and it's about gastronomy, about rediscovering the local food, the authenticity of Switzerland, and for the first step for the Valais. And yeah, so it's actually a new thing. We take the same concept, but we put it in Switzerland, in Valais, in a short time, 1 day, 2 days. There is an option to sleep in an authentic accommodation as well. And that's the Valais tour. And our goal is to make afterwards the Fribourg tour, the Vaud tour, the Geneva tour, and to make people rediscover the authenticity we got in Switzerland, because we are so lucky to have different landscape, different cultures, and there is something to do. And it's our way also to encourage local tourism as well, because Swiss people are known to be great travelers in Europe, but if there were great travelers in Switzerland, it could be so great for the local economies to have this impact. And I think for Swiss people, it's also so great to rediscover its own country. So yeah, that's a bit of Valais tour. It's now of course, you cannot do it for the moment, but you can pre-order it as a gift box. So we send you a gift box by post, and then when the reservation will be able to do, we will send you an email and you can book your date. So it's quite simple, but we are really exciting to work on it.
Fantastic. That's a great case study, and I remember having discussions around a glass of wine with Nicolas and with Sandrine and the co-working space, and then Nico went with the Team Academy and met Travelize and gave life to this idea. Jérôme, you have a great overview of local startups and SMEs. Do you have any examples to share on what has been done in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, sure. We have seen since the beginning of the crisis, we have seen a lot of different initiatives. Firstly, from the industrial companies, mainly to react to the lack of hydroalcoholic gel. We can mention the Arval laboratories in Comté, also the Société Suisse des Explosifs in Gamsen, and even the distillery Morin. You probably heard about that in Martigny. And of course, none of these companies produced gel before last March. Our health techs and biotech companies also offer great propositions. For example, Calypse in Sion with data intelligence software to predict the flow of patients arriving in the hospitals, or Augurix and Gadia. It was in the news yesterday. They're based in Monte, and together they developed a rapid serological screening test for COVID-19, and it's the first test available on the Swiss market, and it's produced in Monte. We also launched, in collaboration with the Fab Lab of Sion, an initiative for the 3D printing of face shields for healthcare professionals from Hôpital du Valais. A lot of startups proposed also different things. Hazu in Liège has adapted its content management system to make the homeschooling easier, and they are offering it for free now. Synchronos made its team management application also available for free to volunteer organizations in Switzerland. And you heard probably about Cargo Bike in Sion and other cities in Valais. They also deliver whatever you want for free. And of course, as explained by Morgan, Travelize launched its Valais tour last week. And now I hope that we will see more and more of those propositions that not only are designed to manage the crisis, but also to help our economy and tourism in particular to start again.
Thanks a lot, Jérôme, and maybe Julie, if you're with us, in terms of pivoting, can you please just share quickly what Gumi Bambu, your startup, is doing in Indonesia, and how you've managed to pivot?
Yeah, sure. So Gumi Bambu, that's a startup that I've been managing for almost 4 years. It sells basically eco products that we've been distributing around the world. So now with the eco product is becoming is basically secondary. People are choosing mostly primary right now with the situation, with this coronavirus crisis. So we're pivoting by selling and providing also the face mask for everyone, considering not all of the people here having a mask, and the situation of shortage of the mask as well. We also working with other SME that have potential producing a lot of herbs and everything to boost the immunity. So we list their product in our website. So yeah, basically we are collaborating. The collaboration is even stronger during these difficult times. So yeah, that's all I can share.
Yeah,
but so far so good.
we'll share with you a link on what our Indonesian friends. So it's quite funny to see from Zermatt to Indonesia live. A question from Morgan, because Morgan, you're also on the board of the FVS Group. It's a leading event management company. How do you see the future of large-scale events? Will some include more and more digital experiences? You know, we can think as well about tourism, which could also bring new customer segments from all around the world. Imagine we could have a Facebook Live GoPros on traditional cow fighting at La Foire du Valais, for instance.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think big events like that have lots of challenges to come. The first one is will they take place in September? You know, but after that we have to ask ourselves about how can we bring digitalization into this kind of event. And yeah, I think it's, as you said, like a cow fighting and virtual show of cow fighting that can be shows around the world. It's a great idea. That can be something to bring people in Switzerland, in La Foire du Valais, without making them traveling, you know. So that's clearly something that is a possibility. But I think we have also another thing, because we always talk about, you know, physical shops becoming virtual or giving them access to digitalization. But we can also talk about e-commerce, e-shops becoming physical now, because we have lots of e-shops that are only online and they aren't connected with their customers. I mean, in the physical world. So this kind of event can be an opportunity for them to, you know, to connect with the physical world, to connect with their clients during 10 days, during a fair, and yeah, to make a mix between virtual world and real world. And I think the virtual world can be brought into the Foire du Valais, as you said, but we can also do the, you know, the contrary. So brings e-shops into the Foire du Valais to have a, you know, a stand and to do things differently. So yeah, there are really great opportunities to think about.
Fantastic. We do just a couple of seconds break, and to the audience, if they've heard of cow fighting before, yes, cow fighting, we know all we need in life. We cannot wait to experience this again. No, I don't believe in that. I've stopped believing in Father Christmas or Mother Christmas since a while. Or bonus is I actually cow fight or bullfight myself every day at home, especially even more these days. So we'd love to hear from the audience, and maybe for those who've never heard of cow fighting, they will be able to follow it live on a GoPro, or hopefully in September in the amphitheater. Event management and tourism being very close to each other. Christian, I'm sure you have a lot of figures on how many events are held each year in Zermatt, more or less.
More or less, yeah, you can divide them into large events and small events, but let's say we're hosting around 10 to 15 events. Some of them are, yeah, as I said, larger. Some of them are smaller. For example, a cow fighting event too. This summer, it's we set it on the 19th of July, but we did not already decide if we can do it or if we have to postpone it to next year, 2021. But yeah, every week it gets clearer what we can do this summer or what we can't. So actually, we hope that we can go on with all these events. We should have done the event Zermatt Unplugged. Maybe you noticed this music event, and it was we couldn't do it. So that was the first one, and the next week there should take place the Patrouille des Glaciers ski touring event. Also, that one did not or will not take place. Next one will take place in 2022. But we hope for summer tourism or for summer events that they can take place. For sure, a lot of events they need international participants. They need international spectators. And all these events, it's going to be very difficult. But if we have events like cow fighting events, the main target is more like people from Valais or people from Switzerland. It's maybe easier because you don't have these international restrictions of travel. But we will.
So talking about this, Christian, how do you forecast local tourism versus mass tourism in Zermatt in the close, mid, and long term?
So as you've seen before, we now try with that Matterhorn illumination, we try to make people dream for traveling. And then in summer, or when we call it restart, when the restart or recovery begins, we will launch a summer campaign, but only dedicated actually on Swiss people or Swiss target group, because we think, or we're sure that these international restrictions that I said before, that they will go on for, we don't know, for months, maybe, hopefully not for years. So close term, so talking about hopefully July, August, we'll have we hope to have more inbound tourism, so Swiss tourists. Yeah, just also because of the international restrictions, because they cannot fly out of Switzerland, so they don't go to Turkey or to Mallorca or wherever. Then maybe talking about long term, or maybe talking about the next winter, so midterm, we hope that the whole situation will be better then, also for international tourism, and we can do a restart. But we don't know how long it will take to reach the level that we had a couple of months ago. That's very difficult. And then maybe a quick, let me say something about that word mass tourism. It's a difficult word. Actually, we're not forcing mass tourism, but it's clear that the Matterhorn attracts a lot of people from all over the world. Yeah, as I said, we're not forcing it, but all these people, also maybe, for example, Asian people traveling in larger groups, they are kind of important for our economic sustainability, because they help to finance other things, other experiences that we give also to slow tourism travelers. But as I've shown you before, that the triangle is a balance. We also here have to find then again the balance between the ecological and economical and social aspects.
Thank you very much.
Maybe.
No, sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Your conclusion?
Yeah, my conclusion here is maybe one of the positive things out of this Corona crisis is that the people, that they travel with more awareness, or with more consciously, if you can say that. Maybe Swiss people stay more in Switzerland, and people from abroad, they if they are flying or traveling, maybe they stay for longer, or they do longer journeys, and not just that quick hop on a plane and have a look at the Matterhorn, and the day after they fly back or go to Paris or Lucerne, whatever. So they really try to experience the place that they visit.
Thank you very much, Christian. Jérôme, how do you see startups like TravelEyes, maybe like PuraWorka or others, you've playing a role in the future of tourism?
I think startups and especially local startups and local tech companies should have an important role in the future of tourism. Already in the short term, for this summer or next winter, there are still, Christian mentioned it, there are still a lot of uncertainties. We don't even know yet when tourism activities will be able to resume, or when restaurants will be able to reopen. And we also don't know with what rules of hygiene or distance this will happen. And in this context, our startups, also our local SMEs have the capacity to quickly deliver digital solutions, let's say to manage cashless payment for outdoor activities or to manage hygiene controls in a hotel. And the rules of the game will evolve probably very quickly and will be decided by countries or even by canton. Each canton will decide for its rules, and probably large technology companies will not be able to meet this local demand and to adapt their product as well as our local companies will. And no, I hope that we will learn from that in a longer term it could be the same, because a stay in our mountains doesn't really look like a visit of San Francisco or vacation in Ibiza. And I'm totally convinced that this ability to deliver locally designed digital solutions will be much more better than the, let's say, the one-size-fits-all models of today leading tourism platforms.
Thanks a lot, Jérôme. So before we pass on the floor to the audience, I would like to ask the three of you, how do you picture the future of tourism, work, and lastly of your lifestyle? Morgan, do you want to give it a start?
Yeah, it's it's a great question. The future of tourism, I think there is lots of things, new things that will arrive. First, there will be an impact, I think, on the prices for the flights. An impact due to the crisis, but also due to sustainability. I think sustainability will be at the heart of tourism. We cannot travel without thinking about what we are, doing. If we take the plane, we have to think about it. I think the leisure tourism will be more purpose tourism, I would say. If we travel, it's also to prevent, I would say, mental illness or burnout. We want to escape our daily routine. So we travel on purpose. It's not just something you consume. So I think the way it's not maybe the trip itself, but first is the way we think travel. Yeah, I think we will escape from the consummation travel industry to a more sustainable travel industry. I hope so. And we will consume travel in another way, I think. So there is totally a place for new startups in this industry. The model of travel agencies is as past, I would say, can be renewed. And there are lots of opportunities for tourism because experiences are something that everybody wants to try to live in the daily life. So we are not into luxury or consumption anymore. It's about experiences, it's about things to learn, workshops and everything. And tourism, in a way, it's that. It connects lots of different actors, restaurants, hotels, activities, and all that together, that creates experiences. So there are a lot of potential in that, and I really hope to see other initiatives in the tourism industry for the future.
Thank you very much. Christian, how do you picture the future of tourism?
Yes, awareness or solidarity, or as Morgan said, purpose, doing something on purpose is getting more important these days. These are words we hear every day in the media, or we're talking about. And maybe there's, as I already said, a good chance or a good opportunity that people have more awareness to travel, and they know what impact travel have. And maybe tourists are traveling, as we now say, slower, or they try to maximize their experience by staying somewhere or staying longer. And hopefully, and that's your concept too, Neil, hopefully they also combine work with their leisure or their vacation, so they can work remotely. And today we see very, very well that remote work works very well. And yeah, I see an opportunity in this crisis that we have, and I see that people, and it's all about awareness, and I hope Swiss people now are aware that they that traveling in the own country has less, or has actually more impact to the economy of the inbound country, and has less impact on the whole environmental issues.
Thank you very much, Christian. Jérôme, before we leave the floor to the audience, any additional points you would want to add?
Well, to be honest, I'm clearly not a tourism expert, so I don't know what the future of tourism could looks like. But if I had to bet on one trend that this crisis is going to reinforce, you will be happy to know that it's teleworking, and I think it could have an impact on tourism in the future. But for me, the question is not so much about trying to predict the future. It's of course difficult, but as a tourism company, a ski school, a mountain guide office, for example, the question should be what I do to be able to adapt quickly to unknown or unpredictable future and to change. This ability to react quickly, to adapt, is really something that startups, entrepreneurs and innovators have, and they could share with tourism professionals, not only technology, but also a kind of digital culture. Yes.
Thank you very much. So there's a couple of questions from the audience, but as a conclusion, I would love to know, for your next holidays, will you stay in your own country of travel or travel far again? My own country has plenty of beautiful treasures I cannot wait to discover. Sometimes we actually know more about other countries than our own countries. I've even discovered new tracks just around my house. Some may want a big change and go far away. They've had enough of the Matterhorn, Christian. You've seen the mountain enough, the rock. You need to see other rocks or other beaches maybe. Or some may actually not want to go on holiday for a while. They feel enough rest, or they're scared to be in a crowd. You know, some beaches in Spain this summer will keep social distance. So just a couple of seconds to finish, and the results being shared with you. In interesting to see localhood, local tourism again coming out. So we don't need to go far to change maybe the landscape. Just the next question, I would like to share a question from Katerina Georgieva. Do you wanna? I'll just find you in the list. Sorry, I don't know. I will read out to you the question. So if we decide to pivot towards digital events, what will be a reasonable strategy to receive payments for such events? When people are not present, it is much easier to disengage. Christian, would you want to give it a shot on this one?
Yes, I try. Yeah, digital events, I guess. To receive payments for such events, it's we see this in the whole gaming industry, I guess, and digital sports. Actually, not gaming, digital sports. That's a real big industry, and it's larger than some sport industries itself. And I guess with sponsoring, with people are enthusiastic about it. It is possible to receive payments. Depends on the events. If you do a cow fighting event, maybe a digital one, or you do it really, but you only stream it live, I guess this will not work like that, because some events, they really live from the audience, they live from the enthusiasm that is getting bigger, with people shouting out together, with people maybe have a glass of wine together, with the whole social factor. So yeah, I understand the question, but I guess it's really difficult to answer. It depends really on the event itself, or on the topic itself.
Yeah. Katerina, feel free if you want to add a point to that question.
I was because I work in team buildings, and we've been working for the last few weeks with all of our partners around the world to develop or to shift our programs to be available for digital teams, because there is a lot of remote workers now. And I don't know, like I see how our business might pivot towards digital events, but if we're talking about a whole place like Zermatt, for example, or Verbier, where I live, you guys are losing a major part of your revenue from people not being present there, because you need your beds full, right? So even if you do digital, even if you do digital Zermatt Unplugged, I'm just trying to figure out, like, how can we monetize this, because we give a lot of free events now to some of our clients, but at some point we're going to need to have some income. And I'm just looking for ideas, to be honest, if anyone have thought about it.
Yeah, maybe I can add something. I guess I understand your question better now. Yeah, if you take Zermatt Unplugged, that's right. Zermatt Unplugged took place in a digital way. So, but that was kind of the same strategy that we do now. They didn't get any payments there, but they made people dream, and they made people don't forget the Zermatt Unplugged, and don't forget the music, don't forget Zermatt. And they had a positive transfer of their image, I guess, in that by doing this, also for the artists that were playing, or who were playing in this digital event. But yes, as you say, they could never receive some payments with that. And that's if this situation goes on for longer, there's really important to find new strategies to get paid in the end. But I don't have the right answer right now, Katrina.
I think it's what B Corp says is there's a shift from shareholder value to stakeholder value. So it's maybe enhancing the community and the stakeholder engagement by doing these digital events, but you're right. At one point we will need to monetize, and maybe there's no black or white, but maybe it should go together, and hopefully soon we can experience those events face to face again. There's another question from Patrick. Again, Patrick, you want to read out your question?
Thank you, Neil, and thank you to the panel for that very interesting presentation and topic. We all mentioned the challenge of convincing and engaging consumers to adopt a slow tourism approach. But in my view, one other challenge, and if it's not bigger than this one, is actually to work alongside with tourism authorities, tourism stakeholders, to embrace also this concept and promote it. And especially now that we are getting out, or hopefully soon getting out of this pandemic crisis, I can see this being quite conflicting with the interest of certain tourism stakeholders that see the necessity of tourism bouncing back for obvious economical reasons. What do you think of this, and how do you think this can be better tackled? Let's say it's actually for the three of you.
I think it's an excellent question, and there is a risk. I mean, for example, nowadays there is this crisis, and we realize that depending on tour operators, Chinese tour operators, for example, that have 5 years long-term contracts, once there is nothing, if there is this kind of crisis, we have nothing back. And I think it's the opportunity to think long-term. So yes, there is a risk that, as I understood your question, after this crisis, everybody wants to go back and to make money as quick as possible. And, you know, mass tourism, yeah, it's an opportunity to make quick money. But if we think about that, in 3 years, in 5 years, there will be again another thing, and we will come back at the beginning. So I think it's now we have to rethink about it and to focus on the long-term strategy that can be sustainable. But it's a risk, and there is, yeah, I think Swiss tourism can send some guidelines about that, but there is not an authority that will have an influence on all tourism stakeholders to say, okay, stop mass tourism, of course. So everybody has to choose what they want to do. And but it's an excellent question. But I think if you want to be a sustainable business, you have to be focused on sustainability. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Morgan, for your answer. I suggest we take a short break, short break. Jérôme, Christian, or Morgan, any last points before we conclude this session?
No, thank you, Neil.
Thank you, yeah, I would say.
So,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much to the three of you, to the audience. We will start in 2 minutes on slow food and slow drinks. So to keep you warm, I ask the next question to the audience, and please feel free to take a short break. We'll be back very soon with our new panelists. So what is your favorite drink? And I'm sorry to give you only one chance to answer to this very difficult choice you're having to do at the moment. Maybe the hardest one of your life is are you more into soft drinks? We will have an example with Opaline at the moment. Sober life is the new trend or the new sexy. Are you more into beers? We will have our friends from OP People and White Frontier joining us. Cannot wait to drink gallons again with the bros or the sisters. Or are you more into vino? Slow life kind of sir or lady. I'm not sure I can share the results at the moment, but there's also an interesting one is the investments towards sober or non-alcoholic beers and wine in the years to come, and the figures I would encourage you to look at. It's going to be a big market. So well, I suggest we leave another minute for new panelists to join us, and I will then share the results to all. I'm gonna share. I think wine is still quite a lot of preference. So David, Cyril, Ludo, I count on you to make this poll change at the end of today's session on slow drinking or slow food. I guess the only reason why they've answered wine is because they've never tasted your products yet. So feel free to start sharing with us all. David, I will give you first the floor to introduce to the audience what OP People do. And thanks for being with us. And then I'll leave the floor to Cyril, and then I will continue with Ludovic from.
So hi, Neil. How are you?
Thanks. Doing great.
Yeah. So shall I begin?
Yep.
Yeah. So hi to everyone. Nice to be here and to be able to present you what we do here at OP People. I will do shortly a presentation about what we actually did build at OP People and what we what we decided to do actually with this brewery. So this is my small presentation, as you can see. Okay, very nice. You see everything? Neil, it's okay? Fine. Okay. So briefly, Hobby People was founded by my friend Olivier and I. We thought about this like 7 years ago. This is a picture. This is a funny, very funny picture for me because we are friends since a really long time, since childhood. We drank tons of beers, and actually I was drinking many kind of beers, and Olivier was more focused on industrial lagers. And in this picture, what we see is the first time that Olivier drank something else than an industrial beer. This was something like a Belgian beer, I think. And he got very interested. We tried many other beers, and then we started brewing as home brewers. As you can see, it was in my cellar. It was funny, but it was not as good as expected. And we realized that it was quite a thing to brew beer. So we tried to improve our material. Olivier built this with his own hands because he's very comment on dit ça, bricoleur, as we say in French. We built this. We could make better extractions of sugars, but still the fermentation weren't that good. So at 42 years old, we decided to go further, and we invested. We did build an anonymous society, and we did rent this facility here that we can see, and we opened the brewery in 2016. And actually, what you can see in this facility, that it is now empty, but now we've got the brewery inside. But what is funny with this building is that the whole roof is covered with solar panels, so that we are able to brew 100% with solar energy, which is really nice, especially because we are located in Sierre, which is the sunniest place in Switzerland. And so we did build the brewery that you can see here. And we started with a core range of 6 beers. And what we wanted to do is mainly pale ales and IPAs. You can see here our core range. So we've got all these 6 beers that we are brewing all year long. We've got session IPAs, pale ales, black IPAs. And and this went quite quick. So we were sold through Manor and Coop quite quickly. So it went nice. We had many troubles, but this is the way it works with a brewery. You encounter many troubles, and you try to solve them as quick as possible. We had many troubles, actually, as I think every brewer and every brewery has. Cyril will tell us about this later. I think he has also nice stories about this. And in 2018, we did expand our facility. We did rent this new place, which is next to the brewery, where we can stock everything, bottles, kegs, etc., etc. And we could also expand our breweries and buy 5 more fermenters. And now with all this installation, we can brew per year about 250,000 liters of beer, and it's working quite nicely. And we were working at 2, and in 2018 we met Thiago Gross. He's on the right on the picture with all the tattoos and the beard, which makes him look like a real brewer. And he's half Swiss and half Brazilian. We met him in Copenhagen, actually, in a huge beer festival. And we talked. He was very interested about participating at the brewery, and he came, and he's working with us now since about 2 years. And we did notice many improvements when he arrived. We also bought many new materials to be able to control all the fermentation, and now it's working nicely despite the pandemic situation, of course, but it's working nicely. And on the side of our core range, we decided to brew now 3 kinds of new beers. We are brewing all year long, but it's special editions, so it's not always available. And this is where we are hiding now. It's three different kinds of beers. We've got the I Love Hops series, which is especially New England IPAs, double IPAs, who are heavily dry hopped with aromatic hops. And this is working very nicely. We did a sell through Q Beer 2 weeks ago. It was very nice. On the side, we're brewing the I Love Fruits series, which is mainly a Gose, Berliner Weiss, so kettle soured beer, in which we add fruits, tons of fruits. We try to use only fruits from the region, so apricots, raspberries, pears, and things like this. And on the side, there's the last series, is the I Love Barrels series. And this is going on since now 3 years. We did, three releases till now. We've got many barrels waiting. And we try to also use barrels from the region, because the Valais is, as you know, a region where we can find many different wines, and very nice wines, because it's very sunny. And we could access those barrels in which we put beer, and we wait for 1 to 2 years to get the beer matured correctly, and then we can bottle and keg this beer. We are working now with mainly 2 to 3 wine producer in the region. We work with Provins, and we work also with Sampero, and we have actually very nice barrels. Now we have we did something very funny actually with Provins, because they do a wine called the Titans. Very nice wines. They aged in barrels for 2 years inside the dam of La Grande Dixence, which is I think the biggest dam in Europe. And when they did put the barrels back in the valley to bottle the wine, we put beers inside of it. It was actually a barley wine, and we sent the barrels back in the dam, and they are waiting since now 2 years. And we will bring them back, I think, this summer, and this will be available at the end of the year. And we can't wait to try those 50 barrels waiting there. We also do collaborations with other breweries in Switzerland, and we have a barrel, actually barrel Imperial Stout, which will come quite soon, which was a collaboration with White Frontier. And we can't wait to taste this one also. So that's it. I hope you had a nice view of what we are doing here at Hoppy People.
Thanks a lot, David, for your introduction. Maybe to change a bit from beer, and we have Ludo with us. Do you want to say a couple of words on Opaline, its concept and philosophy?
Thank you, Neil, to have invited us to join this panel. So Opaline started in 2009. It was an initiative of Sophia de Meyer. That idea came to her while she was operating White Pot over Les Cerniers Montais. She realized that she couldn't source easily fruit juices from the locality, and after that she sells her shares in the White Pot concept. And then in 2009 she started to try to few recipes in the Cernier where she used to live. And I met her in 2010, and I took the opportunity to help her in the production and the R&D of that project. So the idea was to use local fruit from the valley and try to bring that as much as we could to market. It has been an antinomic way of approaching the market, because we had no network, we knew nobody around. And so the people we met who were interested to be involved in our chain of sales of our product was real dates, because we had no Yeah, it came very naturally. It was really dates, and people were extremely happy to have those opportunity to find those kind of juice, because 10 years ago there were no juice of that kind of sort.
Thank you very much, Ludo, for the intro, and I love your background as well. Cyril, a couple of words on White Frontière.
Yes, hello everybody. I hope I had a little issue with the screen. Hope it's better now. Yes, thanks Neil to be on the panel. Hello everybody here on the panel as well, and the public. I will show you, I will go dig into some graphics and show you some impressions of what White Frontier is and what we're doing, and then just drop you in a little video to start with. Get to this one. Voila. So yes, I went for the images. White Frontier is also a craft brewery, so we're two here actually to get the poll around. It was launched in 2014 with the first steps when Nicolas Roberti basically set up a pub in Verbier and tried what the local beer market was looking like, and coming in with Belgian beers to see what's happening, but then figured out really fast that actually beer should be brewed here and not just imported, as so many imported beers, and there must be more local beer and more connection with the local community as well. So what happened then, I show you two screens. Voilà. Okay. So yeah, what happened then, there was basically, I show you the team. Nicolas Roberti, Chris Trenner, and Xavier Delerue. So Nicolas was basically the first guy with the pub, with a big idea. Chris Trenner, the brewer from Ireland, that he has been brewing in Ireland for a lot of time, since he was a little child, fermenting all kind of stuff. And Xavier Delerue, free ride snowboarder from France, but also living in Verbier. So all this together, I was matching this idea of like, okay, let's be a little bit crazy. Let's go on an adventure and set up a craft beer brewery in Valais, in the heart of the wine region. So the poll is still, I don't know how many Valais people are actually in the webinar, but the poll that we saw before, that you go still for wine, is cool. But that's why we now with the brewery here, and to change the things around. So that's how all started, and the idea was to set up this brewery in the heart of Valais, and also having the one of the purest waters to brew with from the mountains. That's the brewery, how it looks like today. It's the brew house. You see behind the tap room, which is a bar that is built into the brewery. So we set it up a little bit bigger from the beginning. I was not there then. That was 4 years ago, and I joined White Frontier 3 years ago. On the adventure. And yeah, what's been set up was a core range, also 5 beers, to democratize also the craft beer market, to say, okay, what can we bring to the community and to the consumer, and get a better, between parentheses, products with more taste, more experience, and all around the adventure we're basically in. So the mountains that are surrounding the brewery, I will show you afterwards, that's the inspiration, and you've seen it in the video. So basically all the inspiration came from the mountains, and all this freedom and this adventure and this exploration you can do out of the beaten path. And that's the whole philosophy of the brewery, to combine this into the beers and share this with the community and with the recipes we're doing. So that's the 5 beers we're brewing the whole year round. And then there's been 2, 3, 4 specials in small batches that are released every month. So we do a lot of collaborations as well with other breweries. And I can show you here. For example, we have all special beers in small amounts we're releasing. We have crazy fruity beers, sour beers, fruity beers. We do also beers barrel aged in wine barrels. We did use the wine must to ferment and then mature it in a wine barrel. We have also taken some of the beer we brewed and made distillate out of it, that I can show you here with Moron, which is also basically a neighbor. So we had a little eau de vie, like a schnapps out of beer released. And yeah, as David mentioned before, we Topic People, we're brewing, we did a collaboration that is still majoring that should be released. So the little difference here is, yes, probably the inspiration is more from the mountains, from the adventure, and then put into the beer. And we want to share this passion and also, yeah, bring something new experience to the community. And that's the second thing here. You see the tap room, an experience we're bringing in as well, because we built this into the brewery. You see in the back, you see the brew house. So and this is thought to be, yeah, it's a bar, sure, to showcase the beers, but also beers and products from other producers, friends, and this should be really the platform where people can meet. We're in Valais, so it's not urban, and it's on the way to the mountains. It's in the middle, almost in the middle of the valley, and this is a place to meet and to share. I think this is really nowadays really important to have places like this. Some impressions, and then I give back to you, Neil.
Thanks a lot, Cyril, and I will come back on the tap room after. Thanks for the introduction, David, Ludovic, and Cyril. I'd love to hear from the three of you with the current crisis. Have you got examples of actions that you have embedded within your new and refreshing style of companies? Has it had positive or negative impact? Can you share with the audience how you've adapted?
Actually, it was a very difficult, very tough situation because we lost most of the markets. So what we tried to do to sell it, okay?
Yeah.
What we tried is to sell directly to people. So we asked online through Facebook, Instagram, and also and many people came directly to the brewery. And we had also a nice coup de pouce. I don't know how we call this in English. Nice help from White Frontier, because we have a nice collaboration with White Frontier, and I have to say this is very funny because both breweries did open the same day. It was the 24th of May 2016. This is really funny. And actually, Nicolas called us, and he proposed to add our beers. We sold online through their web shop, and this was very nice from them, and also it was working very finely till now.
Yes, so as David said, like if you look what's happened, all the measures that were taken into consideration here, bars closed, restaurants closed, events were annullated, cancelled. So yes, you know, we if you see there's still a lot of beer consumed, and not only bought in shops, and people in Switzerland, they go out and drink it out with friends. So yes, then you can make the math, and you see how much the whole industry is suffering, and it's basically the whole sector is closed and stopped until further notice. So again, as well, we had to rethink not everybody in a bar, but how can we do this? So one thing is the web shop that we actually pushed or reactivated more, and as David said, we had some local products from our friends on it. We had les jus d'opaline on the web shop. We had the beers from Hobbybill, which was also cool to bring in some new energy and not only having our beers. Because in the end, it's a whole, we're all in the same boat, and making, let's say, that the consumer consume better. That's certainly a big step. What we also did is to see, okay, how can we bring the beer actually to the local community? And it sounds easy, but it's not that easy, because you cannot added a cargo bike to our web shop, which is actually delivering the beer in the local community. So also innovating in that sense of logistics. And yeah.
Cool. Ludo, how did the Opaline adapt?
Well, of course, it was and it is a big crisis. I think that in terms of entrepreneurs who had to take a close look to finance our growth, and being in an approach of P&L, we went directly to an approach of cash flow. So it was a mode of surviving. We could test the solidarity of many of our partners. We went through the Grande Distribution. We had really helping move from many big companies like Raiffeisen, who show us our solidarity. We went to market to Tribu, B2B. So we had to reinvent our way of working, being extremely unstuck at early on that first trimester of 2020, due to our success of 2019, which we had with a growth of 16 or 18% over budget. So we were extremely exposed in terms of stock. And yeah, it has been an adventure, and it gives us the opportunity to rebound through the team differently. And I think it's an extremely interesting crisis for an entrepreneur, even so it has dramatic aspects. And I think we are with the good product, the good value, and the good partner, and to go back to the after crisis and taking the best of the lesson of all that.
I think it's really important what Ludo just said, the collaboration with the existing partners, to really you see who are your real partners here, and you see where you have a good information flow, where you have a transparent communication. And this is what is actually also making you think or rethink some models and operations you're having. It's like, okay, is this really the right people I'm working with or not? Because now you really see who's moving, who's transparent, and who's solidary, or plays the solidarity game as well. Because in the end, we're on the same chain, and the whole chain is suffering.
Yeah, I love the example of the tribe, la tribu, that Ludovic has shared. I have a question for Ludo, actually. Opaline, like Loco, being B Corp certified, do you see these type of companies being more resilient in the current crisis?
Well, as you know, the soft skills and the value and the care in our way of approaching the business is there since the early start. So I think that the B Corp certification give us the opportunity to reevaluate ourselves through that gate of doing things properly. And yeah, of course, it's a global thing. There is a B Corp certification. There is the many things which drive us to a discipline of re-asking daily how we approach our business.
Yeah. So I've got a question for David. David, happy people craft local beer brewed 100% with solar energy. One of your bestsellers beer is called namely Porn Star. Like this latest industry's boom during COVID-19, will your porn stars evolve towards even more sustainability following examples of Seven Peaks in Morgin, for instance, who prior crisis got B Corp certified?
So yes, actually selling a porn star is very nice in those time of pandemic, because we saw that in Italy Pornhub got free for the people stuck in their houses. But now we're talking about this B Corp certification. We tried in the early times to be as sustainable as possible, using this solar energy, trying to work also with local people. Also, the bottles are coming from Univers, which are really close to us. We will try to use as many things we can buy from local people, and we won't go to a certification because we have now not the time to do this, and it's quite a tough job to do. But we still will keep in that going in that way. I don't know if I answered the question, but I hope so.
Yeah, I just launched a new poll if people have ever tasted a porn star beer. Yes, Soapy People rules. I love them, especially the founders. They're the real porn stars. No, I don't drink this stuff. Never try, but would love to bring them on. So just a question to get the audience going before we go to the next topic of conversation. I will leave 5 seconds to answer this, which I'm sure David is following quite closely in terms of answers. So 4, 3, 2, 1, I will share the results. A lot of people have already actually tasted your drinks, and some are still looking forward to trying out. So feel free to reach out to David after the current conversation to try out a porn star. So I've got a next question for Cyril. White Frontier has a tap room, you've showed it, and brewery in the same place in Martigny. Knowing that sales evolved towards more online during COVID-19, once social distance measures are being brought down, how do you see the importance of having a tap room in bringing back human interaction at the center?
I mean, you see it on the balconies at 7 at 9 in the evening. Everybody's shouting and making music, and people they want social interaction. They need it, and that's also been a purpose of building up this tap room. It's not just to have. It's nice to have a bar in the brewery. Yeah, it's always nice, and this is I think it's good to taste the beer when it comes out fresh. But this has also been the idea of setting up this tap room. For those that don't know what a tap room is, it's basically a bar with a lot of beer taps. It's a place to meet and exchange. It's a place to taste new things. It's a place to meet new people, to get new ideas and to exchange these ideas. And I think this is on 2 levels. One level is really this reconnecting to life in a real way, in a place where you go and you have an environment you like. This is one thing, but the other thing is also like, okay, we're in Martigny, we're not in a big city, so there's not so much things on so many places to go. And it's also to reconnect actually with the local community, because, you know, you go there for a beer, for an apero, and you meet the producer of glass bottles. You meet the farmer that's making hops. You meet a fruit supplier. You meet, you know, and you meet the insurance guys. And everybody's going there. And I think this is really the importance also of having this kind of platform to reconnect across the different industries. And that's the ecosystem now we need also to get forward, to get along all together, and come back stronger and actually more, let's say, more conscious about how fragile a lot of these processes we're having now actually are. So I think this is really, really an important thing to reactivate with events, with concerts, with external events coming in, and not just content produced in a tap room by White Frontiers. It's really a platform, and it's important to use this and combine these different ideas and people. There's so many stuff out there, and this has to be combined even more after this crisis. Yeah.
What I love about this tap room is it's not just selling its own beer, but it's actually promoting other beers. So, instance, from OP people, and I find this quite revolutionary just in the mindset. So, just to conclude on my own questions, and then we've got questions from the audience. To Ludovic, Cyril, and David, how do you see the future of food and beverage and your own industry? Maybe Ludo.
Well, that's a tough question, Neil. There is few options. Personally, I would like to increase the quality of the stuff, of the quality of the juice, going to more organic fruits, and to follow the transition, the agricultural transition, and to encourage farmer and producer to go in that direction. Different way of packaging, try to address more vertically all the market, and find a point of democratization to touch more people with our product. And it's a big crusade, and that involves a lot of partner and a big community of people who need to be aligned on that. Yeah, and a lot of we need to be very modest and go a step at a time. As said Cyril, we are extremely fragile. We realize that we are extremely fragile. Even so, we are making huge performance. On 2019, we were extremely fragile. You need to finance your growth. We are a small team, so we need to find a good challenge and be extremely agile. And that depending a lot of the people you have around you. So this crisis give us the opportunity to reselect people and see who is committed to the same plan and vision than we are, and I think that's the positive way of that situation.
Yeah, David or Cyril, how do you see the future of your industry?
Actually, it's very difficult to have an idea of what will be in the future, because we do not know how long it will last. But then there are some hopes we can have, and the hopes we can have is that, and this is what we see, the people from the region, they come to us and they want to buy beers to help us, and also because they love to drink non-industrial beers, and we see that people they help us, and in the future we hope, so I hope that something will change with what the people drink and what they eat and how they think of so where it come from, how it was done, and the quality of the products, because here all Ludovic, Cyril, and I we are working in industries which are not that small but not that big, and we try to do the best we can, and we try to work with people around, and we should be helped by the consumers. And I think something has to change in the mind of the people. And I hope that it will happen. Actually, it will maybe be related to the time it will last. Because if it's big, it will begin again in 1 month. It will be the same as before. I think nothing will change. So let's see. But I only have hopes. We will continue doing the same thing we do, the best we can.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Cyril, what's your visionary view?
There's a lot of hopes. There's a lot of realism. But you know, a realist is a pessimist optimist. So it depends really, as David said, it depends on how long it lasts. Because you know, the human race is also adapting really fast and forgetting really fast, and we've seen it through history. So it depends on the real impact. Now we're going through something we've never seen and experienced before. But this impact, is it lasting for how long or not? You know, that's a big question. But I think that actually the potential in here now is really to say, okay, we rethink. Like it's not just the consumer; it's also us rethink. How are we doing things? Who are we working with? Which supply chain, like the whole chain until the beer gets to the final consumer? How does this really work? How can we improve it? How can we make it more? You know, how can we use more synergies? How can we be better in this? And I think all this together will actually help to get, let's say, the industry running again and connecting with the consciousness that has been gained now by the consumers, by the people out there. What we've seen is, yes, you have now people think, okay, we cannot move too much and we support local breweries, etc. But you know, we're delivering across whole Switzerland. So it's also in Zurich that they buy our beers, but they buy a lot of beers from Zurich. So it's difficult to see, but I think it will go in a good direction in the sense of that breweries and other producers and distributors that are not really conscious about what's happening, they will have a lot of problems, and not only from the financial side, as everybody is now against some constraints, but also like, can they really continue working as they did before? So I think that's the good point that can actually bring in and improve the whole chain and help us to be more out with the people again. And that's also, if I call it, hope that's in here as well. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, and very nice words to conclude our own interaction. We will transit to the interaction with the audience. But before we do so, I have a very sad moment. Is the last poll of the morning. I will send you all. We've talked a lot about drinking, but there's also some. Sorry, I'll just go to the real. So okay, so hopefully you will go towards slower food or drinking. Will you want to continue to cook more post-crisis, or do you think it's really gonna last? Back to fast food as soon as I can, or fast drinking, binge drinking. I miss restaurants. I'd love to continue cooking. Eating is cheating. I just drink. That's interesting figures and facts that we'd like to hear from you. Okay, so five more seconds before we share. Okay, so interesting one. As much as people love to cook, restaurants are being missed as well. That's a very important one to see. But people are cooking, enjoying cooking. And some just actually will continue drinking. Pauline or LP people or White Frontier. Thanks a lot. I really count on you, Ludo, Cyril, and David to challenge the big actors to continue selling slower but nicer and better looked after products. But first question from the audience, Leah. I've got you question there addressing David. So first of all, I'm so sorry about the fire. I hope you guys are okay. Are you gonna rethink your business plan, or do everything the same way? And
so,
what
yes, thank you, Leah. Thank you, Leah. We got a fire issue at the brewery. It was catastrophic. We lost everything, but the brewery is now getting production in most likely 2 weeks. So it was tough times for us, and but we hope it will be back as soon as possible. For us, it won't. I don't think it will change something, because the plan that we had is to stay a small team, to stay 3 people working as a brewery. Maybe we will add some fourth people, but stay as a family. And actually, we are two co-founders with Olivier, but now Thiago, he's a friend, and we share everything. We drink everything together. We talk. We talked about the recipes, and the world of beer is fascinating, because you have so many recipes you can do, but it's very difficult to do it nicely. And if you want to do it nicely, you have to control everything. You have to make tests all the time. You have to control. It's very, very difficult. And I think we can improve a lot. We need some more material for this, but we need also money to increase the material we have. So we cannot go too fast, but we did actually, because it went really well and I think the quality of our business is still increasing. We had a nice sell through QBeer 2 weeks ago, just 1 week before the fire, and it was very nice. We had nice beers, and the people we had very, very nice feedback for those beers. And I think now we'll keep doing the job we do, and we will try to evaluate our processes and improve our processes, and keep trying to brew the best beer we can, and also drink all the beer we can.
Yeah, thank you very much, David, and I'm happy to see that you're safe and that the beer is hopefully safe. Before we conclude, is there any other question from the audience? There's a couple of positive feedback from Patrick. You can write it in the chat or the Q&A. Maybe Ludo or Cyril, do you want to share some conclusion words before we take an overall conclusion with Sandrine Yulen, our partner in Zermatt, and Nicolas and Julie? Ludo, Cyril?
Yeah, probably a little word. I think it's really now important to talk to people. We're home, we're behind the screens, getting out slowly, but it's important to talk to people from the industry. It's important to talk to people you work with. It's important to people which are in the same markets as you, but not with the same products. It's important to connect now and share experiences, and also see if there can be any synergies to advance. And this is what the ecosystem now needs, and we have to build this actively, and not just as a company, but as a person as well, and as a company, because that's now how we can. We're small, it's fragile, but we have to be agile and continue. So happy to connect and discuss. And thanks, Neil, again for this amazing panel and public.
Ludo, any words you'd love to share?
Thanks. I'm totally on the same wave of Cyril. Just would like to thank everybody for solidarity and the bond and the connection we make together, and that's going to make the difference. We need to carry on to do the best we can, be as clean as we can, and agile as we can. Thank you very much.
David, on your side?
I think everything was said. Agility, solidarity, and the best quality we can.
Good stuff. So before we conclude, please stay with us. We've got still a couple of minutes together. So Sandrine Yulen will join us. I will share the last poll of the morning on if you actually enjoyed the experience. You know, very frankly, we had to set this in 1 week and a bit more. Thanks to the panelists who played the games. Thanks for all of you. Hope you enjoyed the experience online. So, you know, happy with only once upon a time, or no, I didn't like it, sorry. It is anonymous. We've got plenty of new ideas to talk about slow fashion, maybe slow love, we don't know, or slow everything. So we won't be doing mornings like this, but we might do only quick 1 hour sessions and count on us as soon as we can be outside again or face to face. We will have more sessions in Zermatt or new destinations in the years to come. So we've got this last sondage. So I will stop the sondage right now. I will share the results. I'm happy you enjoyed the morning. It's been a challenge behind the scene. And talking about behind the scenes, we have Nico and Julie. Can you please appear before Sandrine concludes the morning? Thanks to Ludo, Cyril, and David. So Julie or Nico? Julie first.
Yo. Hi everyone. It was very, very insightful. On my side, I got a lot of insightful information based on 3 topics: slow life, slow travel, and also slow drink. Especially on slow drink is very, very new to me because it's quite Western things. For those who don't know, I'm in Indonesia. We consume traditional drink, like we brew ourselves on traditional distillations, things like that. So like arak or some kind of sake. So yeah, it was a very, very insightful. I think in this difficult situation, innovation is the most important, and it's time to get more creative and not being consumed by a lot of bad news outside. We know we have to stay up to and with the news, but not too much. More on educational level like this. I'm very happy to be part of this. So yeah, I think my last statement, it was like congratulations for everyone, especially for the attendees and for the speakers, and for Neil as well, being a very, very good moderator. It's been hours, so yeah, good luck for us and keep up a good job.
Thanks a lot, and
greetings from Indonesia.
Looking forward to be doing PuraMind in Indonesia. Nico, you've also been behind the scene.
Yes, thanks, Neil. For me, I understand something this morning about slow life. It's not just how we use our time, but with who we use our time. And I discover people who's sharing the same value, and we had good example with Hopi people and Opaline or White Frontier that works together to find solution. Or this morning, Jérôme talked about the startups in Valais who try to do their best to help people. And I'm really thankful for what I heard this morning. And we have the chance to have a great company. It's not only about, I think, good products, but it's really about good company and good spirits. And thanks again, Neil and Julie, for the job, and to everyone who was there this morning. And I hope to see you soon in real life. in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot, Nico. And before Sandrine has the last word, I would like just to thank her for having given trust to a small startup. When you arrive in Zermatt, it's not easy. As well, you arrive in a new tap room, or when you arrive in a new job, or when you arrive in a new family. So thank you, Sandrine. I'd love to hear from you your conclusion work, and hopefully you've enjoyed the experience.
Thank you so much to all of you. It was such a pleasure sharing this morning and having such interesting exchanges and learning a lot. One thing is clear, that we're in it together. We're sharing and having all the same feelings. Thank you for setting up everything and making this possible. A few weeks ago, we've all have been hit by a big message, which for the first time has hit globally and all different age groups. Nobody has been spared from that. And suddenly we went into survival mode. Of course, it hit first of all our work, and an area which is very high speed with a lot of pressure, very much multitasking. So being in there, the first questions appeared: how will I survive? How shall I bring food home? Can I keep my job? Can I keep, being or following the same route that I have been followed or invested a lot in the recent years and years and months, perhaps. So all of us have been forced to slow down, no matter if we want it or not, all of us together. And slowly from this survival mode, we recognize that actually we've had so many different elements in our life where we were too much high speed. Just as Patrick mentioned also today, it has affected our work, but more importantly also even our home and family, our community, and even ourselves. We haven't had the time we didn't have the opportunity to take a lot of time for our families, our friends, just in case if there was time, we did so. We didn't care too much about our neighbors, our community, and even for ourselves. So with all this speed, a lot of sicknesses have come up. So we have been forced to slow down, a big opportunity where we can work and live more efficient and especially more conscious. And once we have settled our own world, we can see, as we saw today, that it affects so many different worlds as well, such as we apply this then to tourism, which then gives us slow tourism or slow food, slow consumption, slow love, slow teaching, everything. And it will affect all of our elements and aspects in our life. I've noted down some keywords today, and some things that have come up quite frequently were words such as united, we're in it together, and only together we can survive this and we can adapt. As Cyril said also before, let's share, let's talk to each other, and let's make things easier. Acceptance, let's listen to our nature, to our body. It's magnificent how nature has regulated itself. And also fulfillment. We are constantly, what is it actually that we care about, and what are the things that we would like to fulfill? So it's a great time, I guess, also for startups, where it is not about a specific big brand, it's more about values and care. And this is why I think startups will have a hard time, but also a very prosperous time in future. And lastly, opportunity. Let's take this as an opportunity to balance our lifestyle. Just as Neil said also before, let's remain curious. Let's rediscover Switzerland. Let's rediscover places and things that we haven't done before, such as, for instance, co-working or online seminars, etc. And for the end, I would just like to throw in a sentence that we all know, which is the only constant in our life is change. So let's not stand still, let's continue together. And I would like to thank everybody for participating and for sharing. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing you all again, and for maybe a next group discussion. Thank you so much.
Well, I couldn't have said those words in a better way than you did, Sandrine. Thanks also for your time and observations this morning. This is being broadcasted live on Facebook, so you can see it again, you can share it. We will send an email to all participants to thank you all again, to the panelists as well, with whom it wouldn't have been possible in such a short period of time and stress to make this happen. You feel free to share what you've experienced this morning, and we look forward to hopefully doing this again. Yeah, enjoy your slow weekend, and let's meet each other soon face to face to enjoy slowly a drink or an opaline. And yeah, thanks to everyone. Thanks to Nico and Julie for the help, and to all of you who've been active this morning. And speak to you very soon. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.